Chapter 423. The latest chapter of this book is not finished yet. For more exciting content, please scan the QR code below to download the app. Novels are updated faster. Millions of novels are free to read. Novels with content that can't be found on the internet are all available here. The man looked at her hand that was grabbing the corner of her clothes and sneered. "What? You want to slap me again? Then you'd better use more force this time. Don't leave a palm print like last time." The Crown Prince came out of the imperial study with a pale face. He didn't look where he was going and almost bumped into someone. He was about to lose his temper when he found that it was King Ning. He couldn't tell what he was feeling and greeted him sullenly. "Brother." King Ning smiled and said, "What's wrong? You don't look happy. Did Imperial Father reprimand you or Little Seven?" The Crown Prince said bitterly, "Father said that I didn't teach Little Chi well." "What does that have to do with me? Who knows where that little fatty got the courage to run around the palace?" King Ning laughed and patted him on the shoulder, saying, "You are the Crown Prince and the elder brother. You are the role model for all the princes. It's inevitable that Father has high expectations for you. Don't worry. Father is just saying. He won't really blame you. As for Little Chi, he is at a naughty age. It's normal for him to get into trouble. Father loves him very much. He won't really blame him." These words were quite pleasing to hear. The Crown Prince wouldn't be jealous of Qin Chuyu for taking away his father's favor. After all, Qin Chuyu was his younger brother and there was a big age gap. Besides, King Ning was right. Father scolded him because he had higher expectations for him than the other princes. He sighed. "But Father still wants to punish Little Chi. It's useless for me to plead." King Ning smiled and patted the Crown Prince on the shoulder, saying, "Go back to the Eastern Palace first. I'll talk to Father." The Crown Prince opened his mouth. To be honest, he and King Ning weren't on the same side. King Ning was the biggest threat on his path to becoming the emperor. Not only was King Ning smarter and more capable than him, but also because his father loved King Ning very much. But King Ning's elder brother was hard to hate. His eyes were warm, bright, and honest. He worked hard to be a good son to his father and a good brother to the princes. He was ambitious, but he didn't seem too ambitious. Especially when he had no unspeakable feelings for Linlang. Don't think that I don't know. Old Third, Old Fourth, and even Imperial Concubine Shu's Old Fifth secretly admired Linlang. Only Big Brother was open and aboveboard, a gentleman. Thinking of this, the Crown Prince found Prince Ning much more pleasing to the eye. "All right then, I'll leave Little Chi's matter to you, eldest brother. Linlang is injured, so I have to go back and take care of her as soon as possible." He had just taken a few steps when Prince Ning suddenly called him, "Second brother." The Crown Prince turned around. "Is there anything else, Big Brother?" Prince Ning said, "Father has been very worried about the assessment of the 6 departments recently, and the cabinet is also arguing about it. I'm planning to go to the cabinet. Do you want to come with me?" The Crown Prince hesitated. As the Crown Prince of a country, he naturally knew that it was a good thing to participate in government affairs and share his father's burdens, but he was really worried about Linlong's injuries. Prince Ning smiled. "Then why don't I tell Father that I'll go alone? Would Father be happy if he knew about this?" The Crown Prince muttered, "Father didn't mention this matter just now." Prince Ning smiled. "That's because I haven't reported it yet." Fine, he couldn't escape. The Crown Prince sighed. "Then I'll wait for Big Brother to go to the cabinet together." Prince Ning smiled. "All right." Seeing the two brothers get into the carriage intimately, Gu Jiao and Yuan Tang, who were behind the tree, stared blankly. Yuan Tang said, "No way? They didn't even fight? Does the Crown Prince think that he's not completely cuckolded enough?" Yuan Tang had already found out who the man who secretly met with the Crown Princess was. Not only because he recognized the other party's voice, but also because when the other party turned around to leave, he accidentally saw the other party's face clearly. His feelings at that time could only be described as extremely surprised. Gu Jiao made a sound of surprise. She was indeed very surprised. Yuan Tang said coldly, I want to clear my name. Gu Jiao flatly refused. No. Why? Yuan Tang asked. Consort Rui Wang will die. Gu Jiao said, she's the only person who can see you secretly meet with the crown princess. She's an important witness. Once you're cleared of the crime, Prince Ning won't keep her alive. You can't talk about morality with people like Prince Ning. Don't expect him to care about brotherhood. Yuan Tang snorted. Do I have to be a scapegoat for the rest of my life? Gu Jiao rolled her eyes. How about, you go and kill him? Yuan Tang's mouth twitched fiercely. Was he a watermelon? If I say I'll kill him, then I'll kill him. Also, this is your Zhao country's territory. If I assassinate your Zhao country's eldest son, how many heads do I have to chop off? As if seeing his complaint, Gu Jiao spread her hands. Didn't you even assassinate the emperor? Yuan Tang clenched his fists. That was just for show. How would I dare to kill your emperor? Do I want to die? Gu Jiao squinted at him. Is there any difference between colluding with the enemy's old concubine and seeking death? Yuan Tang choked. Thinking of something, Yuan Tang smiled. How about you tell your Empress Dowager? Doesn't Empress Dowager Zhuang trust you very much? She won't not believe what you say, right? Gu Jiao was silent. After a while, she said faintly, is her trust in me a reason for me to stab her in the heart with a knife? Yuan Tang choked again. He forgot that Prince Ning's blood was the same as Empress Dowager Zhuang's. Prince Ning could betray many people, but he never betrayed Empress Dowager Zhuang. His filial piety to Empress Dowager Zhuang came from the bottom of his heart. Yuan Tang looked at Gu Jiao deeply. So, what are your plans? I need to know whether we will be enemies or friends in the future. No wonder Yuan Tang asked this. Even Yuan Tang could see that Prince Ning would not hurt Gu Jiao. It was impossible for Prince Ning not to know that Gu Jiao had guessed the truth. He never wanted to kill Gu Jiao from the beginning. Yuan Tang thought of several reasons. First, Gu Jiao was Empress Dowager Zhuang's sweetheart. If he hurt Gu Jiao, Empress Dowager Zhuang would not let it go. Second, Prince Ning also needed Gu Jiao to treat Princess Ning's illness. Of course, this was based on the premise that Prince Ning had feelings for Princess Ning. Third, and the most important, Gu Jiao was an outsider. She didn't care about the War of the Princes at all. Even if Prince Ning made the crown prince a cuckold, what did it have to do with Gu Jiao? Since Prince Ning would not kill her, there was no need for her to be his enemy, right? Gu Jiao said lightly, I only do what I think is necessary. Yuan Tang was confused. What do you mean? Are you going to be Prince Ning's enemy or not? Gu Jiao looked at him. In fact, I should ask you this. Yuan Tang was stunned. What? Gu Jiao said calmly, if Prince Ning finds that it is not easy to assassinate you, he simply gives you up and turns to think of other ways. Then, do you still want to be his enemy? Yuan Tang opened his mouth. Gu Jiao said, it has nothing to do with me whether I am his enemy or not. I never need any friends, and I am not afraid of having more opponents. This girl's words were heart-wrenching. So, he still didn't understand what this girl meant. Gu Jiao was right. After Prince Ning found that Yuan Tang was a tough nut to crack, he did not make any further moves on Yuan Tang for the time being. Although this matter was not made public, it was not easy to shut Rui Wang and his wife's mouths. Prince Ning had two better choices. One was to put on another show and let consort Rui Wang discover the real man in the rockery. This man would be at Prince Ning's disposal, and he could just find a scapegoat to take the blame. However, this required the cooperation of the Crown Princess. From what Gu Jiao observed today, the relationship between the Crown Princess and Prince Ning, the Crown Princess would probably not be willing. Moreover, even if there was a new scapegoat, what would happen next? Would he really push the Crown Princess and the scapegoat out? Would Prince Ning bear to let the Crown Princess lose her reputation? The second choice was to kill consort Rui Wang. Consort Rui Wang was an eyewitness, and so was Gu Jiao. However, Gu Jiao did not care about this matter. Unlike consort Rui Wang, who had a grudge against the crown princess, she would not easily let go of this opportunity to see the crown princess lose her reputation. "Miss Gu, are we going back to the medical center?" Xiao Sanzi asked in the carriage. "Let's go to Prince Ning's mansion," Gu Jiao said. "Okay." Xiao Sanzi drove the carriage to Prince Ning's mansion. Princess Ning met Gu Jiao in her courtyard. She had someone serve her tea. "Dr. Gu, are you here for a follow-up visit today? I remember that the follow-up visit is in 3 days." In other words, she could tell that Gu Jiao did not visit her for no reason. Gu Jiao did not mince her words and said directly, "Princess, can I trust you?" Princess Ning's hand that was holding the teacup paused. Prince Ning and the Crown Prince were busy in the cabinet until late at night. When they returned to the mansion, it was already late at night. Princess Ning sat in the pavilion drinking tea. Prince Ning pressed between his eyebrows and walked over. A servant opened the curtain for him, and he found that consort Rui Wang was also there. He was slightly stunned, but soon his expression returned to normal. He smiled gently and said, "Suxin, I'm back. Third sister-in-law is also here. Eldest brother." Hearing his voice, consort Rui Wang turned to look. She stood up and bowed with a smile. "Sister-in-law said that she was very bored, so I moved here for a few days to accompany her." "Eldest brother, you don't mind, right?" "Of course not. I'm very happy to have you with Suxin," Prince Ning said with a smile. He came to the other side of Princess Ning and sat down next to her. He said, "Sorry, there were too many things to do in the cabinet today. I didn't come back to watch the show with you." Princess Ning poured him a cup of flower tea. "It's okay. Third sister-in-law watched it with me." Prince Ning smiled and glanced at the two of them. "Which match did you watch? Was it good?" Rui Wang Fei nodded like she was pounding garlic. "It's Worshipping Moon Pavilion. It's so wonderful, I cried from watching it." Prince Ning smiled and looked at consort Ning lovingly. "Then, did Suxin cry?" Consort Ning asked back, "Your Highness, do you want me to cry?" Prince Ning was stunned again. Then he held one of her hands and asked, "Of course not. I promised Suxin that I wouldn't let you cry in my life." Consort Ning took her hand out of his palm and pushed the flower tea to him. "Your Highness, have some tea." "Okay." They sat in the pavilion for a while. Then Prince Ning said, "It's late. I'll take you back to rest." They got up and walked out of the pavilion. But the moment they walked down the steps, consort Rui Wang suddenly screamed and leaned forward. Ning Wang was separated from her by Ning Wang Fei. Even if he wanted to act, he couldn't. Ning Wang Fei grabbed Rui Wang Fei and pulled her back, stabilizing her body. Consort Ning lost her balance and rolled down the steps. "Suxin. Sister-in-law." Consort Ning had a terrible fall. Her left arm was dislocated. After the doctor fixed her arm, he wrapped a cloth around her and asked her to rest in bed. Consort Rui Wang was so sad that she cried. I don't know what happened. I suddenly slipped." Consort Ning asked consort Rui Wang not to think too much and to go back to her room to rest. Prince Ning stayed to feed consort Ning medicine. Consort Ning didn't drink the medicine. Instead, she stared at him. "Your Highness, why do you think third sister-in-law slipped? Did she step on something?" Prince Ning paused. Consort Ning continued, "I asked people to clean up the pavilion. Who put something that shouldn't be there?" Her eyes made Prince Ning frown. "How do I know?" After saying that, Prince Ning realized that his tone was not good enough. He took a deep breath and said, "If Suxin wants to know, I'll ask people to find out." Consort Ning twitched her lips. "Your Highness, you'd better find out." Of course, Prince Ning found out. This kind of thing was not difficult for him. But the result of his investigation almost made his expression crack on the spot. It was consort Ning who asked us to smear some lard on the steps." The servant was so scared that he couldn't speak clearly. God knew why Consort Ning, who had always been gentle and virtuous, suddenly wanted to smear lard on Consort Rue Wang. But she had failed to harm Rue Wang Fei and hurt herself. Prince Ning clenched his fists. "Get out! Go and get the flogging yourself." "Yes, yes, yes." The servant hurried out. He was afraid that Prince Ning would change his mind and ask for his head if he was a little slower. Although Consort Ning was hurt, her sleep was not affected. She slept until dawn. Consort Rue Wang had been up for a while. She went to Consort Ning's room. Prince Ning also came. He had something to say to Consort Ning, but he couldn't say anything since Consort Rue Wang was there. He took a deep look at Consort Ning and went to the cabinet to deal with official business. But he didn't expect that before he could sit in the cabinet, the housekeeper of the mansion came to report that Consort Ning was poisoned. Prince Ning choked on his breath and almost choked to death. "Your Highness, in a moment." The Grand Secretary of the Imperial Cabinet walked over and was about to discuss something important with Prince Ning. However, Prince Ning stood up and left in a hurry without even looking at him. The Cabinet Secretary was speechless. When Prince Ning entered the room, Consort Ning was sitting on the bed and drinking medicine. Her face was very pale, but she looked careless. Prince Ning pinched his fingers expressionlessly. "All of you, leave." "Yes, Your Highness." The servants hurried out. Prince Ning closed his eyes and took a few deep breaths. He came to the bed and sat down. He looked at her gently. "Give it to me." Consort Ning handed him the bowl of medicine. Prince Ning tasted it first. It was not cold or hot. Then he fed her a spoonful. "It's aconite." Consort Ning drank the medicine and said. Prince Ning stopped when he was about to take the second spoonful of medicine. Consort Ning smiled and said, "It was supposed to be a sour apricot for third sister-in-law. I was curious and tasted it first. Unexpectedly, I was poisoned." "Your Highness, who poisoned me?" The latest chapter of this book is not finished yet. For more exciting content, please scan the QR code below to download the app. Novels are updated faster. Millions of novels are free to read. Novels with connotations that can't be found on the internet are all available here. https://www.zhbqg.com/89642_826/110295086. HTML Genius remembered the website address in 1 second. www.zhhbqg.com Biku Gu mobile reading website, zhhbqg.com. Chapter 424. The latest chapter of this book is not finished. For more exciting content, please scan the QR code below to download the app. The novel is updated more quickly. Millions of novels are free to read. Novels with content that can't be found on the internet are all available here. Prince Ning threw the spoon back into the bowl and stared at her. His eyes were not as gentle as before. His eyes were heavy and deep. "What do you want to do?" Princess Ning raised her head and looked at him without blinking her almond eyes. She smiled and sneered. "I don't want to do anything. I just want to tell Your Highness that I don't care about those things of Your Highness. But if anyone wants to kill Consort Rue Wang, they have to kill me first." Prince Ning's pupils shrank as if he had experienced a great shock. Even though he had developed the character of being calm even if Mount Tai collapsed, at this moment, he couldn't help but feel a touch of frost between his eyebrows. He clasped her wrist. "Those things of mine? You should tell me clearly what those things of mine are." "The medicine is cold." Princess Ning smiled and naturally broke away from Prince Ning's hand. She took the medicine bowl from his hand. She had always been afraid of bitterness, but she drank it all in one breath. Not a drop was left. She handed the empty bowl to Prince Ning. "Your Highness, please put it down for me." Prince Ning took a deep look at her. Coldness, complexity, and anger flashed in his eyes. But in the end, he suppressed them all. He took the medicine bowl and put it on the table. He calmed down and said softly, "Have a good rest. I'll ask someone to send third sister-in-law back." Princess Ning said indifferently, "I heard that aconite is not as toxic as arsenic." "I don't know. I haven't tried it." Prince Ning had already stood up and walked out. Hearing this, he suddenly turned around and looked at Princess Ning. "Enough, Chu Yu. I won't hurt her." Chu Yu was Princess Ning's name. Suxin was her name. After the wedding, he had never called her name directly. Princess Ning was stunned and smiled. "Your Highness, you'd better remember your words." Prince Ning came out of Princess Ning's yard with an extremely cold look. His henchman followed him and said to Prince Ning, "Master, are you really going to send Consort Rui Wang back? Do you want?" As he spoke, he made a throat-slitting gesture. Ning Wang looked at him coldly. "Who gave you the guts to do this?" The trusted aide was stunned. "Didn't your Highness say that the Chen nation's hostages can't do anything about it? Otherwise, we might as well." King Ning's eyes were cold as he said, "What do you mean? Since when are you in charge of this prince's affairs?" The trusted aide cupped his hands and bowed. "This subordinate dares not." Prince Ning put his hands behind his back and looked at the autumn scenery in the garden. He said lightly, "Send Consort Rui Wang back. Don't hurt her." His confidant opened his mouth. But Ning Wang suppressed his anger and said, "She already drank poison to force me. What else do you want me to do?" The confidant's face changed as he hurriedly replied, "Yes." "Wait." The confidant was about to send Consort Rui Wang back to the Fu when Prince Ning stopped him. "Who came to the Fu yesterday?" "Yesterday?" The confidant thought for a moment and replied, "Dr. Gu from the Miracle Hands Hall came. It seemed that he came to check on the princess consort. The check was in 3 days." Prince Ning murmured. His eyes were deep as he said, "When did Dr. Gu come? Was it before or after the princess consort sent someone to pick up Consort Rui Wang?" "Before," the confidant said. Prince Ning narrowed his eyes. 3 days later, Prince Ning caught someone and brought him to Rui Wang's Fu. The crown prince also appeared with him. The crown prince was confused. "Eldest brother, why did you call me to Rui Wang's Fu?" Prince Ning said, "There are some things that I need to explain to third brother and third sister-in-law in front of you." The crown prince asked, "What is it?" Prince Ning said, "You'll know in a moment." Rui Wang and his wife were also surprised. Why would the crown prince lower himself to visit Rui Wang's Fu? When Prince Ning ordered his subordinates to bring a man with his hands tied behind his back into Rui Wang's courtyard, they all widened their eyes. Wen Yang. The crown prince was the first to recognize him. This young man named Wan Yang was none other than Wen Linlong's older brother. He was 26 years old this year and was an ignorant and incompetent hedonist. When Wan Yang saw the crown prince, he cried out, "Crown Prince brother-in-law! Crown Prince brother-in-law, save me!" The crown prince asked in confusion, "Eldest brother, why did you catch Wan Yang?" To be honest, Wan Yang's reputation wasn't very good. The crown princess usually didn't allow the crown prince to interact with her family, so the crown prince could only turn a blind eye. Rui Wang and his wife also had a puzzled expression. Prince Ning looked down at Wan Yang condescendingly. There was no longer the usual gentleness between his brows. Instead, it was dyed with a bit of fairness and sternness. 2 days before the Mid-Autumn Festival, did you sneak into the palace? Wan Yang was forced to kneel on the ground by Prince Ning's subordinates. He wanted to stand up but didn't have the strength. I wasn't sneaking. I was going to see my sister." Prince Ning said coldly, "Entering the palace without being summoned is considered sneaking in. It's useless even if you have the Eastern Palace's token." Wen Yang's neck shrank. It wasn't the first time that Wen Yang had entered the palace with the Eastern Palace's token. He had been discovered twice and the token was taken back by the crown princess. However, the crown princess's mother still had an urgent Eastern Palace token. The crown prince thought that it was probably this unfilial son who stole Madame Wen's token. Prince Ning continued to interrogate Wen Yang. "Did you injure Chunying that day?" Did you threaten the crown princess? The crown prince was slightly stunned. However, Consort Rue Wang's expression suddenly changed. What? It's him? The crown prince. What? It's him? Prince Ning nodded. That's right. The man behind the rockery that day was him. It was him who was talking to the crown princess. Consort Rue Wang was dumbfounded. Then the Chen state. Prince Ning shook his head. The hostage of the Chen state was just a misunderstanding. I've already investigated. He wasn't in the palace at all on the day of the incident. Someone saw him going to a shop on East Street to buy dried fish. The crown prince said suspiciously, "What are you guys talking about? I don't understand." Prince Ning looked at him and said, "It's like this. That day in the palace, third sister-in-law heard that the crown princess was being threatened. The crown princess slapped that person. Coincidentally, there was a palm print on the Chan state hostage's face." Prince Ning stopped there. The crown prince understood. His expression turned cold. "Are you guys misunderstanding Lin Lang?" Consort Rue Wang's eyes flashed. Prince Ning quickly mediated. "How could we misunderstand third sister-in-law? Did second brother forget that the Chen state assassins tried to assassinate imperial father? The Chen state is ambitious. We're just worried that the Chen state hostage will hurt the crown princess." "Ah, yes, that's right." Rue Wang quickly chimed in. They couldn't really say that they suspected the crown princess of having a lover outside. Moreover, from the current evidence, the crown princess seemed to be wrongly accused. Only then did the crown prince's expression turn better. Prince Ning continued to interrogate Wan Yang. "What did you threaten the crown princess that day? You better confess honestly. Otherwise, even if you're the crown princess' biological brother, this prince still won't let you off." Although Wan Yang was the crown prince's brother-in-law, Wen Lin Lang was the most important in the crown prince's heart. Whoever hurt her would be at odds with him. The crown prince looked at Wen Yang coldly. "What did you say to Lin Lang? How did you threaten her?" Wen Yang lowered his head and said in a trembling voice, I was just a little short on money. I asked her for some money. She refused to give it to me, so I threatened her and said, if she didn't give it to me, I would make a fuss in the capital and let the entire capital know that she was mean to her biological brother, disloyal, unfilial, and heartless." Prince Ning frowned and said, "That's it? Then why did she hit you?" Wen Yang muttered, "I only said one sentence to her." The crown prince's face turned ashen. "What did you say to Lin Lang?" Wen Yang cleared his throat and braced himself. I said that she's so heartless. Serves her right that she can't give birth to a child." These words were really heart-rending. Not to mention that when Lin Lang would slap him, even the crown prince wished that he could slap him a few times. Looking at the crown prince's expression that was gradually turning cold and stern, Wen Yang's body trembled. Suddenly, he didn't know where he got the strength from, but he actually broke free from Prince Ning's restraint and pounced over to hug the crown prince's leg. I was blinded by Laud that day and drank some wine. I spoke without thinking. Brother-in-law crown prince, please forgive me this time. I won't dare to do it again. I'm Lin Long's biological brother. Please forgive me. Please give me a chance to turn over a new leaf." Consort Rue Wang suddenly spoke. "Then why did you knock Chunying unconscious?" A woman's intuition was always more accurate. The only flaw in the entire matter was that he had knocked Chunying unconscious. Chunying was a servant brought over by the Wan family, and she wouldn't do anything to Wan Yang. Was there a need for Wan Yang to knock her unconscious before speaking to the crown princess? Wan Yang's expression froze. Prince Ning rubbed the jade ring on his thumb. Wan Yang let go of the crown prince's leg and said shamefully, I drank a little too much and was a little unruly to Chunying. That girl didn't listen to me, so I hit her. I didn't expect her to faint." The crown prince was unable to restrain his anger. "You even dared to touch a female official of the Eastern Palace. I think you don't want to live anymore." Wan Yang knelt on the ground and fiercely slapped himself. I'm foolish. I deserve to die. Brother-in-law Crown Prince, scold me. Why don't you give me a good beating? I won't dare to do it again in the future. Everyone was familiar with Wan Yang's conduct. They originally thought that the Wan family would restrain themselves after the collapse of the cable bridge. It seemed that they had thought too much. Boring. Consort Rui Wang pursed her lips. She thought that she had caught evidence of Wan Linlong's adultery. Who would have thought that it was just a dispute between siblings? It did affect Wan Linlang, but it was pitifully small. After all, the entire capital knew that her family was unreliable. Prince Ning took in Consort Rui Wang's expression. He picked up the teacup on the table and lightly took a sip. After all, it was a big matter that alarmed Prince Ning and Rui Wang. In order to ensure that Wan Yang's words were not one-sided, the Crown Prince sent someone to the Eastern Palace to call Chunying over. Chunying's testimony was consistent with Wan Yang's. In fact, Wan Yang's testimony was enough to win the trust of others. After all, Prince Ning and the Eastern Palace were on opposing sides. It was impossible for Prince Ning to bribe Wan Yang. Chunying's testimony completely confirmed Wan Yang's crime. Prince Ning could not bribe Wan Yang, let alone Chunying. At least, the Crown Prince and Rui Wang both thought so. However, after the Crown Prince returned to the Eastern Palace, he still told the Crown Princess about Wan Yang. He came to find you. Why didn't you tell me? The Crown Princess was still recuperating on the bed. She lowered her eyes when she heard this. Her jet-black hair slid down her shoulders, making her face look even more pale and weak. Your Highness, the Crown Princess said in a low voice, how do you want me to speak about this? It's already embarrassing for me to have such an elder brother. If I were to speak about this, would I embarrass your Highness? The Crown Prince was embarrassed. I didn't mean it that way. In a restaurant in the capital, Wan Yang poured a cup of wine for Prince Ning and said with a smile, Your Eldest Highness, my acting today was not bad, right? Two of Prince Ning's trusted Imperial Guards stood behind him. Beside the Imperial Guards was Chunying, who had a tense expression. Prince Ning glanced at Wan Yang with a smile and hooked his finger at the two Imperial Guards. The two of them carried a small chest from another room and placed it on the table. When they opened it, it was filled with gold. Wan Yang's eyes widened. This is really for me? Prince Ning smiled. Isn't young Master Wan a little tight on money? Consider this as my thanks to you. No need to be so polite. Wan Yang smiled as he took the chest into his arms. He picked up a gold bar and bit it. Really? Real gold? Wan Yang smiled even more brilliantly. Your Eldest Highness, you're such a good person. You're much better than my stingy brother-in-law. If my sister had married you back then. Halfway through his words, he remembered that Wan Linlang could not marry back then. His sister had been engaged to the young duke since she was young. Before the young duke passed away, Prince Ning had already married the Chu family's daughter. With his sister's looks, it was impossible for her to be a concubine. Moreover, the Crown Princess was not bad. Wan Yang said, When my sister becomes the Empress in the future, I will be the Imperial uncle. I will definitely repay your Eldest Highness well. Prince Ning looked at him with a smile that was not a smile. Aren't you going to ask why I asked you to act in this scene? Wan Yang said indifferently, Didn't you say you were helping my sister out? Prince Ning smiled and nodded. Yes, I was helping Linlang out. Wan Yang did not ask about helping her out. He did not care and did not care. Wan Yang waved his hand. In the next second, he sat up straight and looked at Prince Ning. He stuttered, Linlang. Prince Ning smiled. Yes, Linlang. Wan Yang's smile gradually froze. Your Eldest Highness, to my sister. Prince Ning looked at the chest in his arms and smiled warmly. Is there enough gold? If not, I still have more. Wan Yang shut his mouth. Coming out of the restaurant, Wan Yang drunkenly patted Ning Wang's shoulder. Your Highness. Don't worry. I will definitely not tell anyone. I am a person who values loyalty the most. From today onwards, you are my friend. Prince Ning smiled warmly and said, "Okay." Wan Yong stumbled into the alley where his carriage was parked. Chun Ing looked at her young master's drunken appearance and felt worried. Prince Ning took out a handkerchief and wiped his hands. His smile disappeared. "Do it cleanly." His confidant replied, "Yes." Chun Ying's face turned pale. The next day, a major event happened in the capital. Wan Yong died. On the way home, the carriage broke down and fell into a small pond. By the time they pulled Wan Yong out, he had already drowned. The capital government launched an investigation into this matter. The result of the investigation was an accident. Wan Yang's coachman did not see the stones on the road clearly and broke the wheels of the carriage. He and Wan Yong both fell into the water. The coachman swam up with all his might. However, Wan Yong was drunk and was not so lucky. However, some people suspected that it was not an accident. In the tea house, many people were discussing this matter. It is said that the crown prince killed him. A young man said, "The latest chapter of this book is not finished yet. For more exciting content, please scan the QR code below to download the app. Novels are updated even faster. Millions of novels are free to read. Novels with connotations that cannot be found online are all available here. https://www.zhbqg.com/89642_826/110267397. HTML Genius memorized this website's address in 1 second. www.zhbqg.com Biku Pavilion Mobile Reading Website. zhbqg.com. Chapter 425. The latest chapter of this book is not finished yet. For more exciting content, please scan the QR code below to download the app. Novels are updated even faster. Millions of novels are free to read. Novels with connotations that can't be found online are all available here. The middle-aged man at the side said, "What? The crown prince? Wan Yong is his brother-in-law. Why would he kill him?" The young man chuckled and said, "You don't know. The crown prince consort has always disliked the actions of her maternal family and almost cut off all contact with them. Do you still remember the broken cable bridge on the first day of the new year? It was the Wan family who used the crown prince consort as an excuse to seal the bridge and road. This caused the people offering incense to have nowhere to go and could only squeeze onto the cable bridge. In the end, the bridge broke." Another scholar said, "I remember this matter. His Majesty also punished the crown prince consort." The young man said, "That's right. After that, the crown prince consort cut off all contact with her maternal family. But who told this Wan Yong to be so stubborn? He actually went to the imperial palace to ask the crown prince consort for money. When he failed, he even scolded the crown prince consort as a hen that can't lay eggs." The original words were not like this, but it became very harsh as it spread among the people. In a fit of anger, the crown prince killed Wan Yong. The young man made a throat-slitting gesture. Gu Jiao heard this news at the medical center. The second boss was gossiping with her. "Everyone says it's the crown prince," the second boss said. He had won a place in the Chamber of Commerce to cooperate with the major shops and firmly stepped on Rejuvenation Hall. While he was elated, he walked with wind, let alone speak. Gu Jiao made an "oh" sound and did not speak. "Do you think so?" The second boss continued to gossip. Of course not. Based on her understanding of the crown prince, he would not do something like killing his brother-in-law. Who the murderer was obvious. It was really an eye-opener for Ning Wang to think of such a roundabout way to save the country. That's right. It was not easy to find a lover with status, but wasn't there a readily available older brother with blood relations? Similarly, a shameful and good-for-nothing brother could be used as a scapegoat. However, Gu Jiao did not expect Ning Wang to be so ruthless. In any case, he was Wan Linlong's older brother. He actually killed him just like that. This ruthlessness and decisiveness was somewhat similar to the rumored former emperor. Even if the crown prince cultivated for another 8 to 10 years, he still wouldn't be as decisive as Prince Ning. If such a person was born in a chaotic world, he would definitely be an overlord. The second boss. Miss Gu. Oh no, oh no. As the two of them were talking, shopkeeper Wang rushed in, sweating profusely. Something happened in the workshop. The workshop that shopkeeper Wang spoke of was the pharmaceutical factory of the Miracle Hand Hall. It was located in a spacious area in the western suburbs of the capital. It was originally a small winery, but after it closed down, it was bought by the second boss. The largest production line was the Golden Sore Medicine, which took up 2 courtyards. The second largest production line was the Vanishing Cream and some tonics, which each took up 1 courtyard. By the time Gu Jiao and the second boss arrived at the scene, the fire had already been brought under control, but the stock of Golden Sore Medicine had also been burned out. That's over 1,000 bottles of Jinchuang ointment. We have to deliver the goods at the end of the month. Shopkeeper Wang said bitterly. Are there any casualties? This was Gu Jiao's first question. Shopkeeper Wang called the supervisor of the workshop over. The supervisor said, at that time, everyone was working, so no one went to the storeroom. No one was injured. Okay. Gu Jiao looked at the burnt ruins of the storeroom and nodded. I'll go talk to the army camp. The goods will be delivered in a few days. Second boss, you go and contact them to see if you can buy a new batch of herbs as soon as possible. Oh, okay. The second boss agreed. He then asked about the cause of the fire. How did it catch fire? Didn't I tell you to be careful and not to bring the fire near the storeroom? The supervisor said sadly and apprehensively, this one also doesn't know what happened. This one inspects every day. During the day, it's once every 2 hours, and twice at night. I didn't find anything wrong. This fire seemed to have suddenly started. Gu Jiao went to the ruins to take a look. The fire had been put out, but there was still a little black smoke coming out of the ruins. Gu Jiao dipped her fingertips on the ground and sniffed. She said lightly, someone set the fire. Someone poured palm oil on the back wall. What? Arson? Who did it? Is it a mole or... The second boss's face darkened. Call everyone here. I want to ask them carefully. Gu Jiao stood up lightly and patted the dust on her hands. No need to ask. They didn't set the fire. It was Prince Ning. It seemed that she had angered Prince Ning by going to find Princess Ning. In fact, she didn't reveal too much to Princess Ning. She only said that Princess Rui Wang had offended someone she shouldn't have. Maybe the other party wanted to harm Princess Rui Wang. As for who that person was and what they did, Gu Jiao didn't mention a word. Gu Jiao didn't know whether Princess Ning had guessed it was Prince Ning or how Princess Ning had saved Princess Rui Wang from Prince Ning. Prince Ning was giving her a warning. Gu Jiao's lips twitched. She wanted to keep this pot of leeks and slowly harvest it, but who told you to owe her? The moon was dark and the wind was strong. Gu Chengfeng's debts were finally paid off. He had a good night's sleep, but what he didn't expect was that in the middle of the night, he felt something scratching his face. He thought it was Gu Chenglin, so he turned over and continued to sleep. Who knew that the thing directly went into his quilt? Gu Chengfeng suddenly woke up and jumped out of bed. Who are you? Little Nine held the quilt on its head and flapped its wings with a confused expression. Gee! After seeing the gerfalcon in front of him, Gu Chengfeng's mouth twitched. After going to Jade Water Alley so many times, it was impossible not to recognize this eagle. Little Nine jumped in front of Gu Chengfeng and arrogantly stretched out its bird claws. Gu Chengfeng took a closer look. Good heavens, there was even a note tied to it. Gu Chengfeng tore down the note and unfolded it. There were only 3 words written on it. Prince Ning's mansion. There was even a bloody knife drawn at the back. Gu Chengfeng, these days, people don't even come personally when they call for help. Instead, it's a little bird running errands? Because he was dissatisfied with Gu Jiao's perfunctory attitude, Gu Changfeng neglected the meaning of the 3 words Prince Ning's mansion. It wasn't until he followed Little Nine to the courtyard walls of Prince Ning's mansion that he finally woke up from his dream and widened his eyes. Where did this girl call him? Prince Ning's mansion? Gu Changfeng turned to leave. He would be crazy to break into Prince Ning's mansion with her. Unfortunately, Gu Changfeng left too late. A small hand reached over and grabbed him into Prince Ning's mansion. Gu Changfeng. As soon as the two landed, a group of patrolling guards passed by. Gu Changfeng hurriedly used Qinggong to hide behind a large tree with her. When the guards were far away, Gu Changfeng angrily looked at Gu Jiao. What's going on this time? Why did you come to Prince Ning's mansion? Prince Ning's mansion was the largest prince's mansion in the capital. Although there were no dragon shadow guards, it was heavily guarded and not easy to break in. There are mechanisms, do you understand? He gritted his teeth. Gu Jiao, oh. Gu Changfeng closed his eyes. He really wanted to die. After a while, he finally calmed down. You still haven't answered my question. Why did you come to Prince Ning's mansion? Gu Jiao said righteously, to rob. Gu Changfeng coldly looked at her dark clothes. Are you sure it's not a robbery? Gu Jiao said, more or less. How did Prince Ning offend you? Gu Changfeng knew this girl too well. She usually didn't steal for money. Gu Jiao, quickly find out where the gold is hidden in Prince Ning's mansion. Gu Changfeng, is it really good to slap his face so quickly? Prince Ning was a very rich prince. Gu Changfeng used his excellent skills to find Prince Ning's little treasury without any effort. How much do you want? Gu Changfeng asked. How much can the two of us take? Gu Jiao took out 2 big sacks from the small basket. Empty it. Gu Changfeng. In the end, the two carried 2 sacks full of gold bars out of Prince Ning's mansion. There was still a piece of gold bar that couldn't fit, so Little Nine carried it back. The 2 people and 1 bird successfully emptied Prince Ning's little treasury. Prince Ning found out about this in the afternoon of the 2nd day. He had just come out of the palace when he saw his trusted guard rushing over. Master, the treasury was stolen. Which treasury? Prince Ning's mansion had several treasuries, including his and Princess Consort Ning's. The trusted guard braced himself and said, Your little treasury. Prince Ning frowned. He clenched his fists and asked, How much was stolen? The trusted guard said guiltily, All of it. Prince Ning's eyes darkened. The prince's mansion is heavily guarded. How could so much gold be moved out? Not to mention there are traps. Is it because the person is dead, or the traps can't be moved? The trusted guard lowered his voice and said, Neither. The trusted guard was also wronged. The mansion's guards had been patrolling as usual. There were no accidents, and the traps were operating normally. Who knew how Prince Ning's little treasury was stolen? Prince Ning felt that this matter was not simple. Compared to who had the ability to empty his treasury, he should be more concerned about who had the guts to touch his treasury. He was the eldest son of the emperor. Not only did he have the emperor's favor, but he also had the Empress Dowager's favor and the support of the Zhuang family. Even Empress Xiao and the Crown Prince did not dare to touch him easily. Somehow, a slender figure suddenly flashed in Prince Ning's mind. Could it be her? His reason told him that it was not possible. After all, even if she had the favor of the Empress Dowager and the Emperor, she was an outsider and a woman. The trusted guard asked, Master, should we report it to the government? Prince Ning's eyes were cold. Do you want to kill me? The trusted guard lowered his head. I don't dare. There was so much gold. If he really reported it to the government, he would be the one who would be investigated. Prince Ning narrowed his eyes. Very good, this silent loss is really too good to swallow. Prince Ning went to the medical center after all. Today, a worker at the medicine table asked for leave. Little Zhang Li and another worker were too busy. Gu Jiao also came to help. She had just finished fetching medicine for a patient when she saw Prince Ning appear in the hall with a noble aura. Prince Ning's appearance and temperament were the most outstanding among the princes. He had the temperament of an emperor and also the appearance of a city. His every movement was noble and unparalleled. The hall was silent for a moment. Because of his appearance. Except for Gu Jiao, no one knew his identity. But the noble aura that came from his bones still made everyone hold their breath. This is for San Qian. Gu Jiao told little Zhongli and slowly walked over. Prince Ning was standing in front of the counter. Behind the counter was shopkeeper Wang. Shopkeeper Wang was already stunned by Prince Ning's appearance and temperament. He did not say anything for a long time. Prince Ning spoke first. Of course, he was not talking to shopkeeper Wang, but to Gu Jiao. "Dr. Gu, what's the matter?" Gu Jiao asked. Prince Ning smiled and said, "It's nothing important. I just happened to pass by and wanted to ask about Suxin's condition. I heard that Dr. Gu has already gone to check on Suxin." Gu Jiao said frankly, "Ah yes. It's not a big problem for the time being. She just needs to continue taking her medicine." Although Gu Jiao's acting skills were unsightly, there was one thing that she never felt guilty about. Prince Ning looked at her deeply. "I wonder where Dr. Gu was last night?" Gu Jiao raised her eyebrows. "Ranshou Palace. I wonder why your highness is asking about this?" Thump. Shopkeeper Wang behind the counter knelt down. Prince Ning's expression did not change at all. He still had a warm smile, but his eyes were sharp. He leaned closer to Gu Jiao and slightly lowered his noble head. This posture was a bit intimate in the eyes of others. Gu Jiao looked at him without avoiding his gaze. Prince Ning smiled faintly. "Dr. Gu, there was no need for us to fight like this. The Empress Dowager loves you very much. We're on the same boat." Gu Jiao. "Oh, so people on the same boat can kill each other and set things on fire." Prince Ning leaned forward and whispered in her ear, "You're still young and don't know the dangers of the Jianghu. For the sake of the Empress Dowager, I'll give you a few words of advice. As a person, you should know your limits. Don't overestimate yourself and don't be too greedy. The water in the capital is deep. Just swim casually. Don't get addicted to swimming. I'm afraid you won't be able to swim." Gu Jiao also whispered, "Don't worry, Prince Ning. I'm very good at swimming." Prince Ning narrowed his eyes at her arrogant words. He straightened up and said meaningfully, "Dr. Gu, take care." Gu Jiao crossed her arms. "Take care. I won't see you out." After Prince Ning left, shopkeeper Wang wiped his cold sweat and stood up with the help of the counter. "Fong Fong Fong. That person just now was His Highness Prince Ning?" N. Gu Jiao nodded and took out 2 gold bars from her purse and put them on the table. Shopkeeper Wang was stunned. "What's this?" Gu Jiao looked at Prince Ning's angry back and said faintly, "Compensation. It's from the arsonist." Shopkeeper Wang. After Prince Ning left the medical center, he immediately went to the Imperial Palace. He naturally had to investigate whether Gu Jiao slept in Ranshou Palace last night. However, not long after he entered the palace, he saw the dazed crown princess near the throne room. There was only Chunying by the crown princess' side. Chunying saw Prince Ning come over and tactfully retreated to the side. The crown princess was still immersed in great shock and didn't realize that there was someone else by her side. How could it be? Really? Why? She looked in the direction of the throne room and grabbed Chunying's hand while speaking incoherently. When she felt the man's touch through her fingertips and palm, she turned her head with a start and quickly pulled her hand back. At this time, there was no one nearby. Moreover, she was standing behind a large tree. Her field of vision was very well hidden. Prince Ning approached her without any misgivings. His broad chest was practically pressed against her slightly trembling back. "What did you see that caused you to lose your composure?" The crown princess turned her face away and avoided his presence. She seemed to have a bit of vengeance and anger. "Aheng has returned." Prince Ning frowned. "What did you say?" The crown princess faintly turned around and looked at him with a mocking expression. "Aheng has returned." The Xiao Hang that you killed has returned. The newest chapter of this book is not finished yet. For more exciting content, please scan the QR code below to download the app. Novels are updated even faster. Millions of novels are free to read. Novels that can't be found online are all available here. https://www.zhbqg.com/89642_826/11024130. HTML Genius memorized this website's address in 1 second. www.zhbqg.com Biku Pavilion's mobile reading website. zhbqg.com. Chapter 426. The latest chapter of this book is not finished yet. For more exciting content, please scan the QR code below to download the app. Novels are updated even faster. Millions of novels are free to read. Novels with connotations that can't be found online are all available here. King Ning suddenly reached out and grabbed the Crown Prince consort's neck, pressing her against the tree. Speak clearly. The Crown Princess seemed to know that he wouldn't really strangle her near the throne room, so she wasn't afraid. She sneered. Say what? Say that you didn't kill Xiao Hang, or that Xiao Hang didn't return to the capital alive. Saying this, she removed his hand from her neck. Chunying, let's go. Chunying guiltily glanced at the two of them before leaving with the Crown Prince consort in small steps. Ning Wang supported himself with one hand on the tree, his eyes cold. Qi Fei, he called. The trusted aide called Qi Fei flashed over and cupped his hands. Master. Ning Wang put down the hand on the tree and looked coldly in the direction of the throne room. His thin lips opened slightly. Go investigate who entered and left the throne room in the past hour. Yes. Qi Fei moved quickly. He contacted their spies in the court and found the list of names that Ning Wang needed almost effortlessly. On the carriage, Qi Fei reported the names to Ning Wang. Grand Secretary Kong of the Cabinet, Minister Su of the Ministry of War, Minister Zhao of the Ministry of Works, Grand Secretary Yuan, Chancellor Hua. Xiao Xiuzhua. Ning Wang's hand that was stroking the jade ring on his thumb paused. Chancellor Hua and who? Qi Fei said, Xiao Xiuzhua of the Hanlin Academy, this year's top scholar. I think he's called Xiao Lulang. Ning Wang was pensive. That person who looks like the young Marquis? Qi Fei nodded. Yes, it's him. Xiao Liulong's appearance was no secret in the court. The common people might not have heard of it, but people like Ning Wang's crown prince had heard of it. He was born in the countryside, but he passed all the trials and entered the Imperial College with excellent results. In the first spring examination, he became the top scholar. Some people said that his results were obtained by relying on his relationship with Marquis Xian Ping. Marquis Xian Ping had lost his beloved son and coincidentally met someone who looked so similar to his son, so it was inevitable that he would place his love on him. No one suspected that he was Xiao Hang because Xiao Hang was already dead. This was what everyone believed without a doubt. As for Xiao Lulang, Prince Ning actually knew more than ordinary people. For example, the Empress Dowager was not recuperating in the temporary imperial residence. She was wandering among the commoners. During that period of time, she was rescued by Xiao Lulang and Gu Jiao. It was not important whether Xiao Lulang relied on his own power or the Emperor or the Empress Dowager's favor. If he wasn't the real Xiao Hang, Prince Ning wouldn't care about him. Xiao Hang was dead, so no matter how much Xiao Lulang resembled Xiao Hang, he would not be Xiao Hang. However, if Xiao Hang didn't die, then only Xiao Lulang would be Xiao Hang. Master, there are a few more, do you want to hear them? Qi Fei asked. No need. Prince Ning rubbed the jade ring on his thumb. Investigate the relationship between Chancellor Hua and Xiao Lulang. He couldn't determine whether Wen Linlong's words were true or not, so he couldn't just listen to her side of the story. It wasn't hard to investigate this. Before returning to the Imperial College, it was still relatively easy for the old Chancellor to hide his whereabouts. However, now that he was an official in the imperial court, he stepped into the eyes of the common people and left more clues. In addition, the people in the Imperial College all thought that the old chancellor was in contact with Xiao Lulang because he felt that he looked like his beloved disciple who had already passed away. No one doubted him, so he naturally didn't have to spend too much effort to hide it. In just 2 days, Qi Fei had found out about the fact that the old chancellor lived next door to Xiao Lulang. He calls the old chancellor Grandpa Gu. Qi Fei said. Prince Ning frowned. If he didn't remember wrongly, Xiao Lulang and Gu Jiao called the Empress Dowager Grandpa. The Empress Dowager and Chancellor Hua, Prince Ning furrowed his brows in annoyance. Continue. Yes. Qi Fei said, it was Xiao Liulong's family who moved to Jade Water Alley first, and then Chancellor Hua moved there. Prince Ning said, was it before or after Chancellor Hua returned to the Imperial College? Qi Fei said, before. A bold guess suddenly rose in Prince Ning's heart. After Xiao Hang died in the fire, Hua Xian's heart was like dead ashes, and he resigned and left the capital. Prince Ning originally thought that Hua Xian returned to the capital because His Majesty invited him to come out of retirement again, but now it seemed that this might not be the case. He returned to that sad place of the Imperial College because of Xiao Lulang. That place that burned his beloved disciple to death. How did he have the mood to go on duty every day? It was obvious just by looking at Princess Xinyong. She still didn't dare to return to the princess estate because she was afraid of being hurt by the scene. In the past, Prince Ning had overlooked this detail because he firmly believed that Xiao Hang was dead, and he would no longer suspect anything related to Xiao Hang. Now that he thought about it, it really was full of flaws. If Xiao Hang was still alive, then Chancellor Hua's actions and reactions would all make sense. Prince Ning rubbed his jade thumb ring, his gaze deep. Xiao Hang, young Chancellor, young Marquis. Hanlin Academy. Lulang, Lulang, Lulang. Xiao Lulang abruptly woke up from his sleep. He opened his eyes and looked up, only to see Ning Xuan standing in front of his table with a stunned expression. He didn't have time to withdraw the hand that was poking his shoulder. Are you okay? Ning Xuan looked at him strangely. You're sweating all over, are you not feeling well? Did you not rest well last night? Xiao Lulang answered vaguely, I slept late. Ning Xuan suddenly understood. No wonder. I was wondering why you didn't come out after so long. Don't do this next time. If Scholar Han catches you, you'll be in trouble. Xiao Lulang didn't doze off when he was on duty, but when it was time to leave, he lay on the table for a while. He didn't expect that he would dream of the fire on New Year's Eve. He hadn't dreamed of that fire for a long time and thought he had almost forgotten. However, the fire and despair in the dream were so clear that it was suffocating. Did you come to see me for something? Xiao Lulang asked. Can't I come to see you for nothing? Ning Xuan raised his eyebrows and smiled. I really have something to tell you. There's a drinking party tonight. Do you want to go? I'm not going. Xiao Lulang refused without thinking. Ning Xuan clicked his tongue and said, Hey, you brat. I'm doing this for your own good. Scholar Han is going too. It's a proper place. Don't you want to fight for the position of attendant? You have to build a good relationship with Dr. Han. No. Xiao Lulang still refused. Fine, fine, fine. You're so young, but you're more afraid of your wife than I am, Ning Xuan muttered and went to the party alone. On the other side of the clinic, Gu Jiao also had a dream. She hadn't had a dream in a long time. This time, as expected, she dreamed of Xiao Lulang again. Xiao Lulang left the Hanlin Academy after his shift ended. It was snowing heavily. Xiao Lulang went to the biscuit shop that sold preserved vegetables and bought a few raw preserved vegetable biscuits. He packed them in a food box and brought them home. On his way home, he was chased by a group of assassins. Xiao Lulang wasn't a martial artist, so he couldn't beat them. However, he relied on his wisdom to get rid of the assassins. Unfortunately, he fell and fainted on his way out. He also injured his hand. Because he missed the best opportunity for treatment, his right hand was crippled by the time he was sent to the clinic. After waking up, Gu Jiao was very calm. As expected of my husband. Enemies can't hurt you, but you're so rebellious. It was snowing. It was still early. It was only August. However, she remembered the faces of the assassins. Each of them had an emblem on their swords. They seemed to be from some underworld organization. Gu Jiao knew that Xiao Lulang hadn't offended anyone from the underworld. So, there was only one possibility: he had hired someone to kill him. Gu Jiao decided to find Gu Chengfeng and ask him which underworld organization the emblem belonged to. She wanted to know who would want to kill Xiao Lulang in a few months. Xiao Lulang left the Hanlin Academy and went to a nearby biscuit shop. "I want a few preserved vegetable biscuits. Can you make them raw?" They were so hot that they were soft and didn't have the same crispy texture. "Okay. There are only 6 left. How many do you want?" "Give them all to me." The owner wrapped the biscuit dough in bamboo leaves and put it in Xiao Liulong's food box. Xiao Lulang paid and took the food box home. When he was halfway home, Xiao Lulang faintly felt that someone was following him. He paused and looked back at the street behind him. The endless flow of people didn't seem to be strange, but the feeling of being watched became more obvious. Xiao Lulang entered the ready-made clothing store from last time. After about the time it took to burn a stick of incense, he came out. A few sneaky figures followed him silently. When he passed through a secluded area, they suddenly rushed forward and pulled him to the ground. "What are you doing?" he shouted. The few of them took a closer look and frowned. This man with a cane and wearing the uniform of the Hanlin Academy wasn't the one they were watching. That guy had slipped out of his shell. "You!" An assassin drew his sword in anger. Another person stopped him. "Don't complicate matters. If someone suddenly died here, the officials would be alerted and it would be even more inconvenient for them to move." Xiao Lulang gave the waiter some silver and asked him to pretend to be him. He changed into a set of clothes from the shop and walked out through the back door. He could still walk without a cane, but limping was not as convenient as when he had a cane. When he passed by a rouge shop, he accidentally fell down. His right hand knocked against the lame opening of the shop's steps, making a long gash. Blood flowed all over the floor. He didn't care about his injury and pain. He quickly got up and continued to walk forward. "Brother-in-law." A 15-year-old girl in pink ran out of the rouge shop. Her clothes weren't gorgeous, but they were very delicate and pretty. Xiao Lulang didn't seem to hear her call him brother-in-law and continued to walk forward. Yao Xian lifted her skirt and chased after him with small steps. When she was about to leave the alley, she stopped in front of him. "Brother-in-law, it's really you. Do you still remember me? I've been to Bai Shui Alley. I'm Xian, Yao Xian was Yao Shi-Gija's daughter. Strictly speaking, she should call Xiao Lulang cousin-in-law. She didn't need to use the word cousin-in-law. Xiao Lulang frowned. It didn't matter if he remembered her or not, he didn't plan on paying attention to her. Yao Xian didn't seem to notice Xiao Liulong's alienation. Her eyes swept over and found his hand dripping with blood. Her beautiful face turned pale as she said, "Brother-in-law, what happened to your hand? Are you injured? Where did you get injured?" Xiao Lulang didn't even look at her as he continued to walk forward. Yao Xian became anxious and reached out to grab him. Xiao Lulang dodged and fell again. Yao Xian squatted down in guilt. I'm sorry. Brother-in-law, I didn't do it on purpose. I didn't want to push you. Were you scared by me? Your hand." With Xiao Liulong's fall, his hand extended to the ground and bled even more. Yao Xian quickly reached out to help him up. "I'll send you to the clinic." "No need." Xiao Lulang said indifferently, "Don't touch me." Yao Xian's hand froze in midair. Being rejected was always awkward. Most people would have already left in embarrassment, but Yao Xian didn't. She held back all the awkwardness and embarrassment. Pinching the handkerchief in her hand, she lowered her head and tucked a strand of hair behind her ear. She softly said, You're injured so badly. At least let me bandage it for you." This was the shy and timid appearance of a young girl. When a woman tried to seduce or get close to a man could only pretend not to understand. Xiao Lulang originally only felt unfamiliar and alienated with Yao Xian. But now, his eyes were a bit colder. He looked at her coldly. "You want to be my concubine?" Yao Xian had never expected that this man would suddenly say such a thing. She was completely stunned. Xiao Lulang sat on the cold ground and looked at her with a cold smile. "What? Did I say something wrong? You don't like me? You don't want to climb into my bed?" Yao Xian's entire face turned red. She couldn't tell if it was because she was embarrassed or not. From the first time she saw him, her heart had been captivated. She thought that she would forget about him when she went back, but all she thought about was that incomparably handsome face. He was also the new top scholar and was the emperor's most important official. Even if she had to be his concubine, she would be willing. It was just that his words were too embarrassing and a little disrespectful. This was the real Xiao Lulang. He wasn't a modest gentleman, nor was he a kind classmate. He wasn't even a good person. He was just an evil person with a dark heart. He didn't have any sympathy for the fairer sex, nor did he have any gentlemanly demeanor. He only suppressed his evil and gave Gu Jiao the Xiao Lulang she wanted to see. She wanted him to study, so he went to study. She wanted him to have friends, so he went to make some friends. She wanted him to be a good official, so on the surface, he was a fair and honest official. What was respect? He didn't understand. Yao Xian wasn't worthy. The words of climbing into his bed made Yao Xian feel a sense of humiliation that she had never felt before. Her eyes turned red as she said, I sincerely admire brother-in-law. Even if brother-in-law doesn't have any feelings for me, you don't have to humiliate me like this." "Sincerely?" Xiao Lulang gave a cold smile and pointed to the other side of the alley. "Over there are people chasing after me. If you go and lure them away, they may or may not kill you. It all depends on your luck. Do you dare to go?" Yao Xian's face turned white. Xiao Lulang sneered and used the hand that wasn't stained with blood to stand up. Yao Xian quickly said, "It's not that I don't dare. It's just that it's useless even if I go. I won't be able to hold them back and will only expose brother-in-law." Xiao Lulang threw a nail at her. "Pick it up." Yao Xian didn't understand and picked it up. Xiao Lulang said coldly, "Swallow it." "Ah." Yao Xian was so frightened that she threw the nail in her hand and it smashed into the blood on the ground. Xiao Lulang snorted. "Sincerely?" Yao Xian said unwillingly, "Has my cousin swallowed a nail for you before?" "She hasn't." Xiao Lulang looked at the noisy street. "I can't bear to do it. If she had to swallow it, it would be me swallowing it for her." "Lunatic. This man is a lunatic." Digression. Jiao. I heard that you are a treacherous official? Beauty Xiao. Oh. No, I'm obviously a good official. I heard that you're a hero of the martial arts arena? Jiao. Oh. Oh no, I'm obviously a virtuous lady. What were they thinking when they said that she drugged him and climbed into his bed? Was Lulang the kind of male lead who would give others a chance? The latest chapter of this book is not finished yet. For more exciting content, please scan the QR code below to download the app. Novels are updated at a faster rate. Millions of novels are free to read. Novels with connotations that can't be found online are all available here. https://www.zhbqg.com/89642_826/110215151. HTML Genius memorized this website's address in a second. www.zhbqg.com Biku Gu mobile reading website, m. zhbqg.com. Chapter 427. The latest chapter of this book is not finished yet. For more exciting content, please scan the QR code below to download the app. Novels are updated faster. Millions of novels are free to read. Novels with content that can't be found online are all here. Gu Jiao went to Qinghe Academy and fished Gu Chengfeng out of the men's restroom. Gu Chengfeng was about to explode with anger. Can you not always come to this kind of place to fish me out? If this happened a few more times, he would have erectile dysfunction. Gu Jiao brought him to a woodshed in the academy and pressed him to wash his hands. Gu Chengfeng. You still care about this? Gu Chengfeng slowly washed his hands. Gu Jiao thought he was too slow and grabbed him into the small woodshed. What are you doing this time? Gu Chengfeng asked in a bad mood. Last time, he risked his life to help this girl empty Ning Wang's little treasury, but in the end, not even a single gold bar was given to him. He worked as a porter for her for free. He finally managed to hide one, but in the end, it was taken out by little Jiu's eagle. Even the eagle was the same as her. Are you angry? Just say if you're angry. I have something to ask you. Gu Jiao casually broke off a branch and squatted on the ground to draw the emblem of two blades. Do you recognize this? Gu Chengfeng was still complaining about the gold bar. He snorted and said, Dual Blade Sect, what's wrong? Don't you want to rob them? I say, have you been thinking about money lately? Robbing everywhere, you're not afraid of being exposed. I'm not robbing them this time. Gu Jiao said, Are they very powerful? Gu Chengfeng squatted down beside her and said in a neutral tone, That depends on who it is compared to. Compared to the Thousand Secrets Pavilion, this kind of old Jianghu organization, there is no way to compare it. However, among the new sects that have risen in recent years, it can be considered relatively outstanding. Why are you asking about this? Gu Jiao said, It's nothing, this sect may offend me in the future. What do you mean by may offend you in the future? Do you know them? Do you know divination or do you know how to dream? Gu Jiao also asked for the Twin Blade sect's address and roughly understood their general situation. Since there was still some time before the incident, Gu Jiao decided to keep an eye on them for a period of time. After leaving the Qinghe Academy, Gu Jiao went to the Hanlin Academy. The road was a little congested. By the time they arrived at the Hanlin Academy, it was already past the end of the shift. Gu Jiao saw that the biscuit shop was still open. She thought for a moment and walked over to ask, Boss, do you still have preserved vegetable biscuits? The boss smiled and said, Your husband bought the last few dried vegetables. Because they always patronized his business, the people in the bakery already knew that Gu Jiao and Xiao Lulang were a couple. Did my husband buy it raw? Gu Jiao asked subconsciously. Most people would not buy raw meat. Her question was very strange. In fact, even she felt it was strange. The shopkeeper thought that she had instructed her husband to buy raw meat and was worried that her husband would buy the wrong one, so she asked. The shopkeeper smiled and said, It's raw. Gu Jiao thought, Is it a coincidence? In her dream, something happened on the day he bought the dried vegetable biscuits, but that happened 2 or 3 months later. Not every day he bought the dried vegetable biscuits would have an accident. Even though she thought this, Gu Jiao still went to the place where he had an accident. It was an old rouge shop. Its business had been snatched up by the surrounding shops, so there were very few customers coming in and out. Perhaps it was because of this that the scene was well preserved. No one had discovered or destroyed it. Gu Jiao saw the dried bloodstains on the ground. Gu Jiao crouched down and carefully looked at the traces of the bloodstains. In her mind, she couldn't help but imagine the scene of him falling down again and again. Yes, he fell down twice. The first time was when he knocked on the door of the shop, cutting the web between his thumb and forefinger and his arm. The second time was when he fell on the ground a few steps forward. There was a bloody handprint where he supported himself. In her dream, he only fell once. It was a world of ice and snow. He fell quite miserably and fainted on the spot. What's going on? Did the things in the dream happen in advance? This was the first time Gu Jiao encountered this kind of situation. She didn't have any experience and didn't know if her guess was right. This bloodstain could be someone else's. If it's a mistake, then it's a mistake. She definitely couldn't gamble with Xiao Liulong's life. It would be best if it wasn't Xiao Lulang. If it was, then it wouldn't delay the time to save him. His hand couldn't be crippled, and his life couldn't be lost. Gu Jiao followed the trail of blood all the way. When she found a sparsely populated old street, the blood trail suddenly disappeared. There were two possibilities. 1. The bleeding stopped. 2. He was kidnapped here. Moreover, it wasn't by Qing Gong, but by a carriage. Using Qing Gong in broad daylight would be easy to be discovered, and there would still be some bloodstains left behind. But Gu Jiao didn't find anything even after searching the outer walls. With her husband's unlucky body, it was unlikely that the bleeding stopped. It was more likely that he was accidentally kidnapped. Gu Jiao's guess was right. Xiao Lulang was indeed unlucky to be kidnapped. He had clearly shaken off those assassins and went to hire a carriage. Xiao Lulang hadn't been to that old street for a long time, so he didn't have a deep impression of it. Thus, he found a carriage and asked for directions. The carriage he asked for just happened to be the assassin's carriage. This was what it meant to wear out iron shoes in fruitless searching for something, only to find it without any effort. The assassin opened the window with a dumbfounded expression. What the hell was this? Xiao Lulang was so unlucky as he was kidnapped by the assassin into the carriage. There were a total of 4 assassins. 2 were driving the carriage outside, while the other 2 were keeping an eye on Xiao Lulang. Xiao Lulang was tied up and blindfolded. They didn't plug the cloth. If it was too thin, he would be able to spit it out. If it was too thick, he would suffocate. Isn't there still air through his nose? Assassin B asked. Assassin A glared at him and said, What if his nose is blocked? Did you forget how that person died last time? Assassin B recalled a hostage they had captured. They had stuffed his mouth, but his nose was blocked. In the end, he died halfway through. Assassin B didn't say anything. Assassin A's knife pointed at Xiao Liulong's handsome face and threatened, Don't make a sound. Do you hear me? If you dare to make a sound, I'll cut off your tongue. Xiao Lulang leaned against the wall of the carriage and ignored him. He couldn't see and couldn't walk, but by listening to the sounds on both sides of the street and smelling the fragrance coming from the shops, he could roughly guess that the carriage was going through Luoyang Street and was approaching the East City Gate. Could it be that they wanted to take him out of the city? Xiao Liulong's guess was quickly confirmed. He heard the unusual sound of horse hooves. This was the sound of horse hooves stepping on the official road near the city gate. When it was almost their turn, a group of armored horses suddenly rushed over. Judging from the sound of horse hooves and armor, it seemed to be the Imperial Guards of the palace. The leader of the Imperial Guard said, Anyone who leaves the city will be strictly checked. Brother, why is there suddenly a strict check? Assassin B asked in a panic. Could it be that we've been exposed? It can't be that fast. Xiao Lulang also felt that it was strange. Only the Emperor and the Empress Dowager could mobilize the Imperial Guards. He had just been captured, but the Emperor and the Empress Dowager already found out? It was not too late. Even if he didn't go home, he wouldn't be thought to have been captured by the assassins. Xiao Lulang couldn't figure out the problem, so it was even more impossible for the assassins to figure it out. But it was one thing to not figure it out, and another to have a way to deal with it. Hit his acupoints. Assassin A said. Assassin B hit Xiao Liulong's acupoints. Assassin B seemed to have realized something. He scratched his head and said, Brother, if you can hit his acupoints, why did we waste time to kidnap him? Assassin A said, No one will think you're mute if you don't talk. Xiao Lulang, who had been hit on his acupoints, could not move or make a sound. The cloth covering his eyes was pulled off, and in the next moment, something cold was stuck to his face. It was the rumored human skin mask. Of course, it was not made of human skin. The original material was fish skin. It was just that it had been processed to look like human skin. This kind of mask had some flaws up close, but from a distance, it could almost be mistaken for the real thing. Perhaps the Imperial Guards did not expect the people of Jianghu to use such an evil method. They successfully left the city. Brother, it's not good. The soldiers have also left the city. They're coming. Assassin B looked at the Imperial Guards who had also left the city and said. Assassin A frowned and looked at Xiao Lulang. He said, "We can't be discovered so quickly. Forget it. They might not be looking for him. Just be careful." Assassin B asked, "Then, are we still going with the original plan?" Assassin A thought for a moment. He was still a bit worried about the Imperial Guards. He said, "Take the small path." The group gave up on the main road and changed to a small country road. They passed through a small village and waited for the Imperial Guards to leave before returning to the main road. Assassin B said in a small voice, "Let's go slower. If we go faster, we'll run into the Imperial Guards in front." He had a feeling that the Imperial Guards were here to capture them. Assassin A was also troubled. Wasn't he just a poor government official from the countryside? It would be fine if he was captured. Why would the Imperial Guards be here? Brother, they're from the government. Assassin B looked at the group of people coming from behind. There were 4 bailiffs. The 4 of them rode on horses and escorted a prisoner carriage. Inside the prisoner carriage sat a prisoner wearing a prisoner's uniform with his hands and feet shackled. Assassin A suddenly had an idea. Kidnap the prisoner carriage. The 4 of them could easily kidnap a few bailiffs from the government. The 4 of them knocked the bailiffs unconscious and threw them into the nearby bushes. Go, open the prisoner carriage. Assassin A took the key from the bailiffs and threw it to Assassin B. Assassin B went to open the prisoner carriage and said to the prisoner inside, "Okay, you can go now." Prisoner, "I don't want to go, thank you." Assassin B slapped him hard on the face and called him out. He took off his prisoner clothes and shackles and put them on Xiao Lulang. His actions were naturally not gentle. Xiao Liulong's hand was already injured. After being treated so rudely, the wound that had just scabbed over was torn open again. Blood flowed all over the ground. Assassin A complained, "Be careful. Don't kill him before you get the money. Find something to bandage him." Where would there be anything to bandage him? Assassin B tore off a piece of Xiao Liulong's uniform and wrapped it around him. The assassins changed into bailiffs' uniforms and rode on the bailiffs' horses. They brazenly went to their destination. The assassin's bandage was not very good. Xiao Liulong's wound was still bleeding. His pressure points had been sealed, so he could not wrap the cloth tighter around him. The carriage traveled a bit on the official road. They ran into Minister Zhao of the Ministry of Works, who had just returned from outside. Minister Zhao was also participating in the examination of the 6 ministries. Xiao Lulang was the invigilator, so the two had met before. Xiao Lulang tried to ask Minister Zhao for help. Perhaps Assassin B's pressure point sealing was not good enough. Xiao Lulang was already able to move slightly. However, he was not sure if this move would be enough to attract Minister Zhao's attention. He was very careful. The prisoner carriage jolted and he fell forward. It looked like he did not sit properly and fell down. His shoulder and head heavily hit the prisoner carriage. The loud noise startled Minister Zhao, who lifted the curtain. However, he only glanced at the prisoner carriage before putting the curtain back down. It was clear that he did not plan on interfering with the work of the other government offices, so he did not suspect anything. The two sides quickly passed each other. Minister Zhao's carriage was far away. Xiao Lulang knew that his hope had been extinguished. This might be his last hope, because they were almost at their destination. "Big brother, look. We're almost there. It's right in front." Assassin B was so excited that he almost rushed out on his horse. Assassin A stared at him. "Don't mess around. Be careful of attracting the Imperial Guards." Right. We can't attract the Imperial Guards." Assassin B giggled as he agreed. The group of people followed the official road to a T-junction. They did not continue on the official road, but turned into a small road. Right at this time, another carriage came from the other side of the official road. Xiao Lulang only lightly swept his eyes over it and his body froze. He suddenly did not care about hiding the fact that he could move slightly. He turned his face and lowered his head, trying to not let the other party see him. He had forgotten that he was wearing a human skin mask. So what if they saw him? They wouldn't recognize him. Princess, there's a prisoner's carriage in front. In the carriage, Eugen whispered to Princess Xinyang. Princess Xinyang said, then go slower. Let the prisoner's carriage pass first. Yes. Eugen answered. She lifted the curtain and said to the coachman, go slower. The coachman slightly tightened the reins and slowed down. After the prisoner's carriage passed, they continued to speed up. Long Yi spurred his horse and also followed them. Suddenly, Long Yi stopped. Princess Xinyang did not hear the sound of Long Yi's horse. She frowned and lifted the curtain to take a look. Sure enough, Long Yi's figure was nowhere to be seen. Stop. Princess Xinyang said. Yes. The coachman stopped the carriage. Princess Xinyang signaled Eugen to open the rear window. Eugen opened the curtain and opened the rear window. Princess Xinyang saw Long Yi riding the carriage and stopping at the intersection. He stared at the prisoner's carriage without blinking. Princess Xinyang looked at the prisoner's carriage. Her expression did not change at all. She said, Long Yi, let's go. Long Yi did not leave. In the prisoner's carriage, Xiao Lulang dripped blood. Drop by drop, it all spilled on the road. Long Yi got off the horse. Princess Xinyang coldly said, don't touch the prisoner's carriage. Shadow Dragon Guard would not disobey his master's orders. Princess Xinyang did not allow him to touch the prisoner's carriage, so he really did not touch it. The next second, he slashed with his sword. The 4 assassins were chopped to death on the spot. Long Yi calmly put away his sword. He walked over and directly grabbed Xiao Liulong's cage. Princess Xinyang angrily looked at him. He rolled his eyes. Because his hands were busy, he could only use the tip of his foot to kick the carriage. It was as if he was saying, here, the prisoner's carriage is here. I did not touch it. What I touched was the cage. Digression, on 100 ways to anger your master to death, give me a warm monthly ticket? The latest chapter of this book is not finished yet. For more wonderful content, please scan the QR code below to download the app. Novels are updated even faster. Millions of novels are free to read. Novels with connotations that cannot be found on the internet are all here. https://www.zhbqg.com/89642_826/110188676. HTML Genius will remember this site's address in 1 second. www.zhbqg.com Bikuj mobile reading website. zhbqg.com. Chapter 428. The latest chapter of this book is not finished yet. For more exciting content, please scan the QR code below to download the app. Novels are updated even faster. Millions of novels are free to read. Novels with connotations that can't be found online are all available here. Fortunately, Princess Xinyang didn't suffer from depression. Otherwise, sooner or later, she would be angered by Long Yi. Of course, Princess Xinyang could order Long Yi to put down the cage, throw it away, or abandon it. However, Long Yi didn't know if he had guessed her master's temperament of ordering people around, so he directly ran away with the cage in his arms. He left Princess Xinyang with only the back of his head, which seemed to say, run away, I can't hear you." Eugen's expression was indescribable. She turned to look at Princess Xinyang, opened her mouth, and said, "Princess." Princess Xinyang's face was cold and she didn't say anything. She casually put down the curtain. The imperial city was under martial law. Not only were there strict checks outside the city, but also inside the city. The guards guarding the city were on high alert. Suddenly, a strong wind blew, and it was as if an afterimage flashed in front of their eyes. The guards looked at each other in dismay. "What happened just now?" I don't know. Did you see it? It seemed like something passed by, but it also seemed like it didn't. They looked inside the city. Where was the shadow of a person on the empty streets? So, were their eyes playing tricks on them? Collectively playing tricks on them. Soon, Princess Xinyong's carriage arrived at the city gate. After checking the token, the guards respectfully saluted and let Princess Xinyong's carriage pass. At the same time, the imperial guards who went to chase after the assassins gradually realized that the assassins might not have gotten to the front. A group of people returned along the way. On the way back, they found the prisoner carriage that had been stolen, and the 4 bailiffs, who were already cold. Another group of imperial guards found the real bailiffs who had been knocked unconscious in a bush 3 miles away. After the bailiffs woke up, they told them about how they had been robbed. The prisoner ran away. Could it be that his friends stole the prisoner carriage? An imperial guard asked. A bailiff said, "Impossible. That prisoner is a wily old fox. He doesn't have any powerful friends." As they were speaking, the prisoner released by the assassins obediently returned. From his mouth, the imperial guards found out that there were 4 assassins. They seemed to have captured another person. Their purpose of disguising themselves as bailiffs was to quietly transfer the hostage under the noses of the imperial guards. The prisoner did not see what the hostage looked like, but the guards boldly guessed that the hostage was Xiao Lulang. The assassin had been killed, and Xiao Lulang had disappeared. Who had taken him away? And where was it taken? We've been guarding the main road, but we didn't see anyone pass by. Could it be they've returned to the capital? One of the imperial guards guessed. The leader of the imperial guard said, "Have you carefully checked all the carriages entering the capital?" The subordinate said, "There are 2 people whose carriages were not checked." The leader of the imperial guards frowned. "Who is it?" The subordinate said, "Minister Zhao and Princess Xinyong's carriage." On Vermilion Bird Avenue, the carriage stopped outside the residence. Princess Xinyong and Yujin got off the carriage. As expected, Long Yi had already brought back the cage. To be exact, he had brought back the person in the cage. He took off the inferior human skin mask on his face, took off his blood-stained prison clothes, and changed into a set of dry clothes. The clothes were somewhat small. Not to mention that the lapel could not be tied, the sleeves and trousers were also much shorter. As before, Long Yi placed the prisoner on Princess Xinyong's bed. Xiao Liulong's breath was somewhat weak. It was unknown whether he was tired or had lost too much blood, but he had fainted. Princess Xinyong walked over with an indifferent expression, but stopped when she was about to cross the threshold. However, Yujin quickly walked into the room and looked at the man in front of the bed. She did not know who the prisoner Long Yi had brought back was, nor did she know why Long Yi had done so. One should know that this was the princess' bedroom. It would be terrible if a shady person was allowed to lie here. However, when she arrived in front of the bed and saw the pale handsome face, she was stunned. "Princess." Yujin walked out with a shocked expression. She didn't know when, but Princess Xinyong had turned around and was looking at the boundless night sky. Inside, the person inside, he looks like, Yujin simply did not know what to say. She spoke incoherently for a long time. Then, she hardened her heart and said, "He is the Hanlin official that I told you about last time. He looks like the young Marquis. No wonder Long Yi brought him back. Long Yi must have mistaken him for the young Marquis. Princess, quickly come in and take a look. Don't blame Long Yi for recognizing the wrong person. They really look too similar. I almost suspected that the young Marquis had come back to life. Moreover, their ages are similar. If the young Marquis was still alive, he should be around this age." Princess Xinyong did not speak. "Princess, I didn't lie to you. He really—" Yujin's words came to an abrupt end when she saw Princess Xinyong's expression. Princess Xinyong's face was as cold and lonely as before. Her eyes were complicated and seemed to be mixed with many emotions, but there was no surprise. All of Yujin's voice disappeared. However, it only took a moment for Eugene to find it again. "Princess, you know." Yujin wanted to ask when she knew. Was it when Long Yi had rescued the prisoner carriage, or earlier? Princess Xinyang turned around and went to the study next door. Yujin came to the door and intended to enter the room, but she felt the great alienation and loneliness of Princess Xinyang. She did not want anyone to enter the room. Yujin stopped outside the doorway and stared blankly at Princess Xinyang, who was shrouded in darkness. Her eyes moved and she asked, "Princess, is he the young Marquis?" Xiao Liulong's injury was very serious. Yujin went to the nearby medical hall to invite a doctor. The doctor looked at the injury and said that he was unable to save the injured hand with his medical skills. This hand was injured once, fell once, and was tossed around by the assassin many times. It was not better than being frozen in the snow for several hours. The doctor still had a conscience and said with a sigh, "I heard that the doctor of Miracle Hand Hall has outstanding medical skills. He can even reconnect a broken hand. Madam, it would be better to go to Miracle Hand Hall and find a doctor to take a look." Just when Yujin intended to go to Miracle Hand Hall to invite a doctor, Gu Jiao came. Gu Jiao had received the news from the Imperial Guards. Her intuition told her that Xiao Lulang was saved by Princess Xinyang. As for whether it was Princess Xinyang or Long Yi who saved him, she did not know. Yujin was slightly surprised. "Miss Gu?" Gu Jiao said, "Is my husband here?" Yujin confusedly looked at her. "Your husband?" Gu Jiao said with a serious face, "Hanlin official, Xiao Lulang." Eugene was speechless once again. She feared that all the surprises in her life were used tonight. Gu Jiao went to Princess Xinyang's room. At this moment, she did not have time to ponder about Yujin or Princess Xinyang's psychological activities. She immediately checked Xiao Liulong's injuries. Just like in the dream, his right hand was injured. Even the location of the wound was exactly the same. However, he had encountered other things on the way, so his injuries were more serious than in the dream. At this point, she was finally able to conclude that the matter in the dream had been brought forward. She just couldn't figure out why it was brought forward. Gu Jiao opened the small medicine box and took out disinfectant to clean Xiao Liulong's wound. The place that had scabbed over with great difficulty once again oozed blood. Gu Jiao smelled the scent of fresh blood. She closed her eyes and began an arduous cultivation. Gu Jiao came out of the room less than half an hour later. The operation on Xiao Lulang was far more difficult than the operation on other patients. This man's temptation to her was too big. Even his blood made her more excited than other people's blood. She had no choice but to spend more effort to suppress it. It was over half an hour later. Xiao Lulang lay quietly on the bed with an 4 drip. Yujin brought in a basin of hot water. It was the first time she had seen such a strange thing. She couldn't help but take a second look. "Thank you." Gu Jiao accepted the hot water and wiped Xiao Liulong's face and hands. "Dr. Gu." Yujin hesitated. "What's the matter?" Gu Jiao asked. "Can you go see the princess? Tell the princess." Yujin glanced at the unconscious Xiao Lulang and swallowed the words, "Young Duke." "The patient's condition." "Okay." Gu Jiao put down the handkerchief and went to the study next door. There were no lamps in the study. Only the cold moonlight and the scattered candles in the corridor shone in. Princess Xinyang sat by the window sill with her back to the door. Gu Jiao gently knocked on the already open door, then walked over. She sat down in front of Princess Xinyang. "What are you doing here?" Princess Xinyang indifferently asked. She didn't raise her head to look at Gu Jiao and continued to look at the night outside the window. Gu Jiao said, "His injury is not serious. I came to inform the princess." Princess Xinyang indifferently said, "What does it have to do with me whether he is okay or not?" Gu Jiao raised her eyebrows. "If it has nothing to do with you, then why did you take him in?" Princess Xinyang indifferently said, "It was Long Yi who picked him up." Gu Jiao, "Oh." Princess Xinyang expressionlessly looked at Gu Jiao. "You don't believe me? Long Yi picked you up." Gu Jiao strangely asked, "Does Long Yi often pick people up like this? He picks one up and throws one on your bed?" Princess Xinyang coldly looked at Gu Jiao. Gu Jiao rested her elbows on the table and rested her chin on her hands as she looked at Princess Xinyang. Princess, you recognized him long ago, didn't you? You also inquired about him and knew about my relationship with him, so that night you didn't throw me out? She was wondering why Princess Xinyang would be so merciful and let her, a doctor from the medical hall who she had only met once or twice, occupy her princess bed. Are the mooncakes delicious? He personally went to buy the red dates. Gu Jiao asked. At this moment, if she couldn't guess who the mooncakes were made for, then it would be unreasonable. No wonder he took the initiative to go to the palace to deliver mooncakes, and even brought the date paste filling that her great-aunt didn't like. Princess Xinyang turned her face. Unpalatable. Gu Jiao said, so you ate it? Princess Xinyang choked. I didn't eat it, Yujin ate it. Gu Jiao. So you accepted it? Princess Xinyang. Where did this girl learn the skill of digging holes for others? Gu Jiao actually didn't understand. Originally, she thought that Xiao Lulang hated Princess Xinyang, so he didn't want to recognize her, but now it seemed that wasn't the case. As for Princess Xinyang's attitude towards Xiao Lulang, Gu Jiao was even more puzzled. She thought that Princess Xinyang didn't know that her son had returned to the capital alive, but now it seemed that wasn't the case. This mother and son pair was really strange. Xiao Liulong's main injury was on his right hand, and the rest of his body only had some light abrasions. The reason why he was unconscious was because he had lost too much blood and was too tired. But Long Yi seemed to think that he had suffered a very serious injury, and even his mood was depressed, so he didn't bother Gu Jiao anymore. Gu Jiao felt that this was very good. At least her little hand had escaped a disaster. But seeing Long Yi so unhappy, Gu Jiao decided to compensate him in other ways. Eugene made snacks for Gu Jiao, and Gu Jiao left half for Long Yi. Seeing that she only ate half, Eugene asked, "Is it not tasty?" Gu Jiao said, "No, I left it for Long Yi." Long Yi is unhappy? Eugene looked at Long Yi inside the room. Long Yi was Shadow Dragon Guard, so how could he be unhappy? Eugene asked, "How did you know?" Gu Jiao said, "I felt it." Eugene was puzzled, why didn't I feel it? In fact, no one felt it. Long Yi was occasionally disobedient, but he didn't have any emotion, so they couldn't feel it. Gu Jiao touched the bridge of her nose. She thought that everyone could feel Long Yi's emotion. Could it be that only she could? The news of Xiao Liulong's injury finally reached the palace. At that time, the Crown Princess was reporting the recent situation of the female school to the Emperor in the Imperial study. She happened to hear the report of the Imperial Guards, saying that Xiao Lulang was kidnapped by assassins and was injured. Now, her whereabouts were unknown. Gu Jiao had a guess in her heart, but she didn't tell the Imperial Guards. Therefore, the Imperial Guards didn't know that Xiao Lulang was already saved. The Emperor was furious, still not sending people to look for her. Wait. The Emperor stopped the Imperial Guard leader who was about to retreat. The Imperial Guard leader saluted, "Your Majesty." The Emperor pondered, "Call Ning Wang." After such a big thing happened, the first person that the Emperor thought of was not the Crown Prince, but his eldest son. Yes. After coming out of the Imperial study, the Crown Princess's face was pale. Crown Princess. Chunying followed behind her and looked worriedly at her, who looked like she would collapse in the next second. She said in a small voice, "You are injured, and the Crown Prince said to let you stay in the Eastern Palace to recuperate. Why are you in such a hurry to come here?" The Crown Princess didn't answer her and asked in a daze, "Chunying, did you hear what I said just now?" Chunying didn't answer. The Crown Princess indeed felt that her body couldn't take it anymore. She reached her hand to the side, to Chunying. A large and powerful hand supported her arm. When that scorching body temperature burned her skin through her thin clothing, her body stiffened and she suddenly turned to look at the other person. When she saw who it was, she suddenly broke free from the other person's hand and retreated a few steps. "Chunying," she called. However, Chunying had already retreated somewhere. Ning Wang walked forward unhurriedly and looked behind her. He said playfully, "There is a pool behind you, be careful." The Crown Princess turned her head to look, and her throat moved. She composed herself and turned her head to look at him coldly. "Did you do it?" Ning Wang smiled. "What do you mean by, didn't do it?" The Crown Princess said angrily, "Stop pretending." Ning Wang crossed his arms and said helplessly, "Yes, it was this prince who did it. Nothing happened to this prince, but something happened to Xiao Lulang." "Are you very disappointed?" The Crown Princess's eyes flashed, and she looked away. "I don't understand what you are saying." Ning Wang smiled softly and raised his hand to caress her temples. He said gently, "Lin Lang, this prince isn't so easy to deal with. If you think you can use Xiao Hang and Princess Xinyang to get rid of this prince, then you are too naive. This prince won't bicker with you this time, but there won't be a next time, understand? The newest chapter of this book is not finished yet. For more exciting content, please scan the QR code below to download the app. Novels are updated at a faster rate. Millions of novels are read for free. Novels with connotations that can't be found online are all here. https://www.zhbqg.com/89642_896428826/11016405 HTML Genius remembers this website's address in 1 second. www.zhbqg.com Biku Pavilion's mobile reading website. zhbqg.com Chapter 429. The newest chapter of this book is not finished yet. For more exciting content, please scan the QR code below to download the app. Novels are updated even faster. Millions of novels are free to read. Novels with content that cannot be found online are all available here. His tone was the most gentle whisper in the world, and his gaze was filled with deep emotion. However, the Crown Princess still felt a chill run down her spine. Her entire body was frozen in place, and it seemed as though she could not say a single word. Prince Ning gently caressed her face and quietly said, "Lin Lang, ever since the day you and this prince caused Xiao Heng's death, you have already been unable to clear your name. Could it be that you still don't understand this logic?" The Crown Princess' gaze became fierce. "I did not harm him. It was you. From beginning to end, it was you. It was you who followed me to the directorate. It was you who killed him." Prince Ning raised his hand and patted the back of her head. "If it was not for you calling him out alone, how could this prince have had the chance? Admit it, Lin Lang. You are also an accomplice in causing his death." "I am not. I have never harmed A Heng." The Crown Princess reached out to push him away. "I don't want to see you. Leave." Prince Ning's hand that was patting the back of her head suddenly tightened. "Lin Lang. Lin Lang." "Chuning, why are you here? Where is the Crown Princess? Didn't you go with the Crown Princess to the Imperial study?" Not far away, the Crown Prince's puzzled voice could be heard. Immediately following this, Chuning replied with a guilty conscience. "The Crown Princess, she." The Crown Princess coldly looked at Prince Ning. Prince Ning fiercely and silently said, "You know what you should do. Don't anger me. You cannot bear the consequences. One Lin Lang." He let go. The Crown Princess staggered and nearly fell to the ground. What was that sound? Because they were too close, in the instant that Prince Ning let go of the Crown Princess, the Crown Prince had already walked over. He saw the pale-faced Crown Princess and the gentle and calm Prince Ning. He furrowed his brow, as he instinctively did not like his own woman standing with another man, even if that man was his own older brother. Eldest brother? He strangely walked over. Prince Ning smiled and said, "Father ordered me to go to the Imperial study to meet him." Coincidentally, second sister-in-law was coming out of the Imperial study and we ran into each other. So that was the case. The Crown Prince secretly thought that he was overthinking things. Ning Wang was his elder brother. Even if they were not from the same mother's womb, they still had the same father. Lin Lang was his younger sister-in-law. How could there be anything between them? The crown prince came to the crown princess' side and held the crown princess' hand. Feeling the coldness of her fingertips, his brows furrowed even more. "Why is your hand so cold? I've already said that you're injured. If there's anything, you can report it to Imperial Father in a few days. Imperial Father gave me the girls' school, so I should take care of it carefully." As the crown princess spoke, she felt King Ning's death stare. She imperceptibly withdrew her hand from the crown prince's grasp. "I'm fine, just a bit tired. Your Highness, let's go back." After the Mid-Autumn Festival, the weather seemed to have suddenly turned cold. The wind in the morning and evening carried a hint of the chill of autumn. The crown prince took off his cloak and draped it over the crown princess, carefully tying the ribbon for her. Ning Wang stared at the two with a burning gaze. The crown princess grabbed the crown prince's hand and gently moved it away. She took the ribbon herself. "I'll do it myself." "Oh." The crown prince was a bit disappointed. He wanted to do these small things for Lin Lang. However, with his elder brother here, it did not seem good for them to be too intimate. He turned to look at Ning Wang. Ning Wang's eyes had already regained their gentleness. He said, "Elder brother, we'll go back first. Since you've been summoned, then go quickly." Ning Wang paused and turned to look at the crown prince who was leaving with the crown princess in his arms. He said, "Why don't second brother come with me to see Imperial Father? It seems that something has happened. Even the Imperial Guards have been mobilized." "Is that so?" The crown prince was a bit hesitant. Ning Wang smiled. "Forget it. If you want to accompany second sister-in-law, I'll go see Imperial Father myself." When he said this, his gaze unintentionally swept across the crown princess' face. The crown princess felt an endless threat. She clenched her hand and said to the crown prince, "Your Highness, you should go take a look." The crown prince said, "I'm worried about you." The crown princess lowered her eyes and said, "With Chunying accompanying me, what is there for your Highness to be worried about?" In the end, under the crown princess's persuasion, the crown prince reluctantly went. After he went, he found out that Xiao Lulang had been captured by assassins and his whereabouts were unknown. Imperial Father wanted Ning Wang to lead troops to look for him. Since he also went, Imperial Father also gave him a group of troops. In the middle of the night, he could not return to the Eastern Palace to accompany Lin Lang. He had to search for Xiao Lulang aimlessly on the streets. The crown prince was extremely sullen. Really, isn't he just like Xiao Heng? He's not the real Xiao Heng. Why does Imperial Father think so highly of him? He even made me, the crown prince, lower my status to look for him. At this moment, Xiao Lulang, who the crown prince was painstakingly searching for, was quietly lying on the bed of Princess Xinyang. Gu Jiao helped him change the last infusion bottle. It was already late at night. Gu Jiao and Long Yi were quietly guarding him in the room. Gu Jiao was sitting on the edge of the bed, and Long Yi was sitting on the beam of the room. After finishing the infusion bottle for Xiao Lulang, Gu Jiao was lying on the edge of the bed, unable to resist her sleepiness, and fell asleep. Long Yi's eyes were wide open from beginning to end, like an owl that did not sleep. After an unknown amount of time, the entire Vermilion Bird Avenue quieted down. Only the steady breathing of a few people remained in the room. Suddenly, the door of the room was gently pushed open from the outside. A spotlessly white embroidered shoe stepped over the threshold and silently landed on the floor, which was as bright and clean as new. The elegant golden skirt was like floating gold leaf on the surface of a lake, slowly meandering across the room. Xiao Lulang was in a daze from sleep. He wanted to open his eyes, but he didn't have the strength. While half asleep, he felt a gentle and white hand press against his forehead. He didn't know whose hand it was, nor did he know whether he was dreaming or not. That hand pressed against his forehead for a while, then left. When Xiao Lulang completely opened his eyes, he only saw Gu Jiao lying on his side, sleeping. His hand was held in Gu Jiao's hand, and Gu Jiao's other hand was pressed under her body. In this position, no matter what, she couldn't free her hand to touch his forehead. So, was it just a dream? It was pitch black, and he was only half awake. For a moment, he didn't realize where he was. This environment, this atmosphere didn't make him feel disgusted, but it also didn't make him feel unfamiliar. He pulled a blanket over Gu Jiao's shoulder, then took out the hand that Gu Jiao had pressed under her body. He closed his eyes and fell asleep again. For the time being, Gu Jiao didn't announce that Xiao Lulang had escaped danger. In her dream, she only knew that someone had hired someone to plot against Xiao Lulang, but she didn't know who that person was. The other party didn't know that Xiao Lulang was safe, so they might be frantically searching for Xiao Liulong's whereabouts. As for Princess Xinyang, she didn't seem to have leaked any information about Xiao Lulang. At the first glimmer of dawn, Gu Jiao returned to Jade Water Alley. She had to let her family know that she was safe. While she was at it, she packed a few sets of Xiao Liulong's clothes for him to change into. Actually, she wouldn't be afraid if the mastermind had been caught, but now that they were in the open and the enemy was in the dark, it was hard to guard against them. Gu Jiao thought it over. It was safer here with Princess Xinyang. As long as Princess Xinyang didn't chase them away, she would pretend not to see the slight disdain on her face. What Gu Jiao didn't know was that right after she left, the Crown Prince consort arrived. She came to visit Princess Xinyang. At the same time, she also wanted to confirm something with Princess Xinyang. Princess Xinyang slept late last night and didn't close her eyes until dawn. However, the servant girls in the courtyard recognized the Crown Prince consort and understood that she was someone Princess Xinyang cared about, so they still invited her into the courtyard. This servant will call Lord Eugen. The servant girl was furious. The Crown Prince consort said, "No need. You can go do what you need to do. This consort will go find Eugen." Eugen was currently drying clothes in the inner courtyard. She held a position of 6th rank official in the Household Orders Department of Princess Xinyang's estate. 6th rank wasn't considered too high a rank in the capital, but it was a different story if she was Princess Xinyang's trusted official. For as long as the Crown Prince consort could remember, Eugen had been by Princess Xinyang's side and was one of Princess Xinyang's closest people. Lord Eugen. The Crown Prince consort walked over and greeted her politely. With Eugen's status, there was no need for her to personally do this kind of drying work. The Crown Prince consort couldn't help but take a second look. Then, she froze. It was a man's clothing. Princess Xinyang had hidden guards, but the Crown Prince consort didn't believe that Eugen would wash the clothes of a hidden guard. Has the Marquis returned? The Crown Prince consort's first reaction was that Marquis Xianping had returned to the capital to reunite with Princess Xinyang. Even though they didn't get along, they were still husband and wife. It wouldn't be strange for Marquis Xianping to come here. Ah, no. Eugen shook her head. She didn't know how to explain. This was Xiao Liulong's clothing. After a night of thinking and observation, Eugen could more or less confirm Xiao Liulong's identity. But the princess hadn't said anything yet, so she couldn't say it now. When the Crown Prince consort saw that Eugen couldn't answer, some rumors she had heard flashed through her mind. Princess Xinyang and Marquis Xianping didn't get along. Marquis Xianping was promiscuous outside, and Princess Xinyang also had her own gigolo. Of course, this was just a rumor. The Crown Prince consort never believed it. But this man's clothing... Don't misunderstand. It's not the princess, it's me. Eugen decided to take the blame herself. A strong hint of astonishment flashed through the Crown Prince consort's eyes. Eugen cleared her throat and said, "Please keep this a secret for me, Crown Prince consort." The Crown Prince consort came back to her senses. Speaking of which, this Lord Eugen was an extraordinary woman. She had never married. If she was outside, she might be criticized behind her back. But because she was in the Princess Fu and had Princess Xinyang's protection, no one dared to embarrass her. This could be regarded as a good opportunity to win over Eugen. The Crown Prince consort smiled and said, "Lord Eugen, rest assured. I didn't see anything today." With Crown Prince consort's words, "I'm relieved." Eugen simply smiled more unsightly than crying. Princess Xinyang was still sleeping, so she couldn't wake her up. The crown prince consort asked herself whether she had such big face, so she decided to come again another day. She bid farewell to Yujin, and when she passed by the room of Princess Xinyang, she heard movement inside the room. She thought that Princess Xinyang had woken up, so she intended to enter the room to pay respects to Princess Xinyang. But Long Yi, who had jumped down from the beam of the room, firmly blocked the door. The latest chapter of this book is not finished yet. For more wonderful content, please scan the QR code below to download the app. Novels are updated even faster. Millions of novels are free to read. Novels with connotations that you can't find online are all available here. https://www.zhbqg.com/896428226/1101391180. HTML Genius will remember this website's address in 1 second. www.zhbqg.com Bikuj mobile reading website. zhbqg.com. Chapter 430. The latest chapter of this book is not finished yet. For more exciting content, please scan the QR code below to download the app. Novels are updated even faster. Millions of novels are free to read. Novels with connotations that can't be found online are all here. Crown Princess recognized him. That was the Shadow Guard who would rather give the 1,000-year-old ginseng to Gu Jiao than to her. Crown Princess still remembered that kind of embarrassment. If this kind of disobedient guard was in the East Palace, he would have already been driven out by the Crown Prince. Crown Princess maintained basic courtesy on the surface. "I'll have to trouble you to pass on the message. I want to see the princess." Long Yi didn't move. Crown Princess choked. "I haven't seen you, and I shouldn't have done anything to make you unhappy. Is there any misunderstanding between us?" Long Yi continued to stand still. Crown Princess had never seen Shadow Guard Long Yi, so she didn't know that Long Yi was also one. She only thought that this person was deliberately opposing her. She thought that if Princess Xinyang really woke up, then she should have heard the movement at the door. Since she didn't come out, then she shouldn't have woken up. Forget it. Why would she bother with a Shadow Guard? She didn't lose her status. Crown Princess turned around and left. Just when she walked out of the courtyard, she unexpectedly encountered Gu Jiao, who had rushed over from Jadewater Alley. Crown Princess was startled. "It's you? Why are you here?" "You are." She looked at Gu Jiao, and again looked back at the house behind her, then asked with uncertainty, "Here?" Gu Jiao sized her up, clearly also wanted to ask why Crown Princess had come here. Crown Princess indifferently said, "This Empress is asking you a question." Gu Jiao raised her eyebrows. "Do I have to answer if you ask?" Crown Princess had hit a wall with Long Yi, so she had a belly full of anger. And now, being ridiculed by Gu Jiao, she couldn't help but become somewhat angry. "Miss Gu, you have the love of Empress Dowager and His Majesty, but how long will this love last? In the future, after Crown Prince ascends the throne, I will be the Empress. I have no intention to make things difficult for you, but you also shouldn't leave yourself with no way out." This familiar tone, this exact same choice of words and sentences. Where did she hear it? Ning Prince. So to say, in this world, how could there be a wall? How could there be a fire that could be wrapped in paper? When a person had an inexplicable relationship with another person, their every word and action would unconsciously reflect each other's habits. Yu Jin's appearance broke the tense stalemate in time. "Dr. Gu is here. Please come in and have a seat." She smiled and said to the Crown Princess, "Dr. Gu is the doctor this servant invited from the medical hall to treat the princess." "So that's how it is." The Crown Princess withdrew her gaze from Gu Jiao's face. "Then I will come to see the princess when she wakes up." With that, the Crown Princess stepped over the threshold. The moment he brushed past Gu Jiao subconsciously asked, "Does Xiao Liulong's disappearance have anything to do with you?" Gu Jiao asked casually. Unexpectedly, The crown prince consort's body stiffened due to her guilty conscience. Gu Jiao perceptively caught her abnormality and grabbed her arm to pull her back. Speak clearly. The crown prince consort's back hurt from slamming into the wall. Even worse, this posture caused her to feel offended. She said coldly, "Impudent." The guilty conscience in her eyes did not escape Gu Jiao's eyes. Gu Jiao grabbed her lapel and unceremoniously pushed her against the wall. She looked at her coldly. "I don't care if you are the crown prince consort or the empress. Don't force me to do it. You dare." Slap. Gu Jiao backhanded her and slapped her to the ground. Eugene sucked in a cold breath. The accompanying Eastern Palace guards charged in but were kicked out by Gu Jiao. Gu Jiao grabbed the crown prince consort from the ground. "Who did it? Was it you, or did you have an accomplice?" The crown prince consort gritted her teeth. "I didn't do anything. Let go of me." Princess Xinyang was startled out by the huge commotion. "Stop." Princess Xinyang's long hair was loose. She should have just gotten out of bed and didn't have time to dress up. Gu Jiao would not stop. This time, it wasn't a small matter like using a cat to scare her husband. She really almost took her husband's life. She was very angry. The consequences were very serious. Gu Jiao grabbed the crown prince consort and pounded her to the ground. Princess Xinyang had never expected that Xiao Hang would marry such a rude and unreasonable woman. She sucked in a cold breath. "I told you to stop. Didn't you hear me? If you continue like this, I won't be polite." Gu Jiao was also angry. "Humph. Do what you want." This girl's ability to anger people to death without paying for it was the same as Long Yi's. Princess Xinyang clenched her fists and shouted, "Long Yi, pull them apart." Since Princess Xinyang gave the order, Long Yi had no choice but to come out. In order to prevent Long Yi from changing the concept again, Princess Xinyang originally intended to say, "Long Yi, make a move," but changed it to "separate them." Otherwise, she felt that Long Yi might make a move on the crown prince consort. Long Yi flashed out. The order he received was to separate them, so he had no choice but to step forward and separate them. He first went to Gu Jiao's side. When he grabbed Gu Jiao, he was like this. Carefully clasping Gu Jiao's wrist, he patted the back of Gu Jiao's little hand as if he was coaxing a child. Then, he gently removed Gu Jiao's hand for fear of hurting her. When it was the crown prince consort's turn, his style suddenly changed. His entire mask was itching to say, "MMP." Soon after, Gu Jiao saw Long Yi directly fling the crown prince consort away as if he was swinging a pheasant. Gu Jiao, Princess Xinyang, Long Yi indeed lived up to his mission and separated them. Princess Xinyang also didn't tell him to separate them gently or roughly. Princess Xinyang was so angry that her liver hurt. Long Yi wasn't like this in the past. When he first came to Princess Xinyang, Shi Yi was a dutiful dragon shadow guard. It was all because he followed little Xiao Hang that he was led astray by the 3-year-old Xiao Hang. Princess Xinyang was on the verge of exploding. Long Yi looked at Princess Xinyang and then looked at Gu Jiao. He paused for a few seconds with a serious expression. Then, he suddenly grabbed Gu Jiao and disappeared in a flash. Every time little Xiao Hang made a mistake, Long Yi would do this. When Princess Xinyang's anger cooled down, he would bring little Xiao Hang back. This gave her experience, so she didn't want to. Princess Xinyang. She felt that she might become the first master in history to be angered to death by a dragon shadow guard. The crown prince consort was slapped in the face by Gu Jiao. Her face was swollen and she was thrown to the ground. Her arms were full of bruises and abrasions. Princess Xinyang glanced at her and sighed. "Come in. Let Yujin apply some medicine for you." With the support of Yujin, the crown prince consort re-entered the courtyard. The status of the crown prince consort was actually very high. She was second only to the Empress Dowager, the Emperor-Empress, and the crown prince. Even the legitimate princess might not be more honorable than her. However, Princess Xinyang was a princess with real power. Her husband was the famous Marquis Xianping. Who in the world didn't fear her? The Crown Prince consort followed behind Princess Xinyang. She thought that she would be brought into Princess Xinyang's bedroom. Unexpectedly, Princess Xinyang turned around and entered another side room. The three people sat down on chairs. A little maid came over to dress Princess Xinyang. Princess Xinyang indifferently waved her hand. "Go and bring me the golden sore medicine." "Yes." The little maid went to Princess Xinyang's bedroom and brought over a bottle of top-notch golden sore medicine. Yujin first washed her hands. Then, she took out a clean handkerchief and dipped it in the golden sore medicine. She began to apply it on the Crown Prince consort's swollen cheek. This kind of golden sore medicine was also bought from the pharmacists of the Yen state. It was extremely effective in relieving pain and reducing swelling. After applying it, it would cool down and immediately stop hurting. The little maid served tea and pastries. There was the Crown Prince consort's favorite chestnut cake. It was very strange. Xiao Hang did not like to eat this, yet it was the Crown Prince consort's favorite. The Crown Prince consort saw that Princess Xinyang had prepared her favorite pastries, and the gloominess in her heart faded a little. Princess Xinyang picked up her teacup and took a sip, asking, "Why did Dr. Gu use force against you? Is there some sort of grudge between the two of you?" Normal people would either not ask, or they would ask, "Is there some sort of misunderstanding between the two of you?" These words were actually quite clever. If they were asked if there was some sort of misunderstanding, the one who used force was Gu Jiao, and it was Gu Jiao who had misunderstood the Crown Prince consort, then the blame would be placed on Gu Jiao. But if they were asked if there was any sort of grudge between the two, it would not be a question of which side was responsible. The Crown Prince consort was slightly startled. She lowered her eyes and quietly said, "Her husband went missing, and she misunderstood that this matter was related to me." She paused for a moment, then continued, "Auntie probably still does not know, but her husband looks very much like a Heng. He is this year's top scholar and is currently working at Imperial Hanlin Academy. His Majesty has allowed him to give lectures to the Crown Prince. The Crown Prince has complained to me many times that Lord Xiao is too strict with him. The Crown Prince has even openly contradicted Lord Xiao. I wonder if she heard about this matter and believes that the Crown Prince and I have a grudge against Lord Xiao and deliberately did something to Lord Xiao." These words were reasonable and logical. They provided a sufficient explanation for Gu Jiao's suspicions. The phrase "her husband looks like a Heng" seemed to have just been casually mentioned and was not the main point of the Crown Prince consort's words. Princess Xinyang stopped drinking her tea. The Crown Prince consort quickly said, "Sorry, I should not have mentioned a Heng." Princess Xinyang's mood seemed to have instantly fallen. It was clear that she was no longer in the mood to discuss this matter with her. "You can go back first. I still have some matters to take care of." The Crown Prince consort quietly said, "Then I will come visit Auntie another day." Leaving the courtyard, the Crown Prince consort let out a long sigh of relief. Fortunately, the princess did not continue to pursue the matter. Otherwise, she did not dare guarantee that she could continue to hide it. Her original intention was not for something to happen to Xiao Lulang. She also did not expect that Xiao Lulang would fall into Prince Ning's hands. Princess Xinyang had clearly returned. How could someone still hurt Xiao Heng? 4 years ago, she had been careless once. Princess Xinyang should not be careless a second time. Could it be that she had made a mistake and Xiao Lulang was not Xiao Hang? But she clearly heard Xiao Hang call the old chancellor teacher. In this world, there were only 2 people who could call the old chancellor this way. One was the old chancellor's eldest disciple, Li Su. This person had already resigned and left the capital. The other was Xiao Heng. It couldn't be that the old chancellor had accepted Xiao Lulang as his disciple. That year, the old chancellor had clearly said that Xiao Hang was his last disciple. But if Xiao Lulang was Xiao Hang, why didn't he receive the protection of Princess Xinyang? Princess Xinyang had returned to the capital for so long. Could it be that he still hadn't acknowledged her? She could understand that he did not acknowledge Marquis Xian. After all, the father and son had a somewhat distant relationship. It was inevitable that he would feel resentful. But Princess Xinyang was very close to him. He had said before that the person he cared about the most in this life was his mother. Moreover, when she mentioned Xiao Hang just now, Princess Xinyang's expression did not look like she had regained her son. The latest chapter of this book is not finished. For more exciting content, please scan the QR code below to download the app. Novels are updated even faster. Millions of novels to read for free. Novels with connotations that could not be found online are all available here. https://www.zhbqg.com/89642_826/1101366643. HTML Genius remembered this website's address in 1 second. www.zhbqg.com Biku Pavilion's mobile reading website. zhbqg.com. Chapter 431. The latest chapter of this book is not finished yet. For more wonderful content, please scan the QR code below to download the app. Novels are updated even faster. Millions of novels are free to read. Novels with connotations that can't be found online are all available here. The Crown Prince Consort closed her eyes. Either Xiao Lulang really wasn't Xiao Heng, or Xiao Hang hadn't recognized Princess Xinyang yet. The Crown Prince Consort's mood was incomparably complicated. Crown Prince Consort. Eugen's voice interrupted the Crown Prince Consort's thoughts. The Crown Prince Consort came back to her senses and asked politely, "Lord Eugen, what's wrong?" Eugen said earnestly, "Regarding Dr. Gu's matter, I ask the Crown Prince Consort to give face to the princess and forgive him. There is no cure for the princess's heart disease." It was only after meeting Dr. Gu that she was finally relieved. Hearing this, the Crown Prince Consort frowned slightly. Wasn't the 100-flower pill effective last time? Eugen shook her head. To be honest, that wasn't the effect of the 100-flower pill. It was Dr. Gu's medicine. The Crown Prince Consort clenched her white hands. Eugen said again, "Crown Prince Consort doesn't need to take it to heart. In the princess's heart, you are the person closest to her. It's precisely because she views you as family that she doesn't treat you as an outsider." Who wouldn't be happy after hearing these words? The Crown Prince Consort smiled generously and said, "Don't worry, I'm not such a petty person. I won't tell His Highness the Crown Prince and Father Emperor about today's matter. If they ask, I'll say that I was careless and injured myself." Eugen held the Crown Prince Consort's hand. Only the Crown Prince Consort is so considerate of the princess. That's right, only she was sincere to Princess Xinyang. Regardless of whether Xiao Lulang was Xiao Hang or not, and regardless of whether Gu Jiao was Princess Xinyang's daughter-in-law or not, she was the person closest to Princess Xinyang. After Long Yi carried Gu Jiao out of the residence on Vermilion Bird Avenue, Gu Jiao thought that he was going to take her out for a stroll. Who would have thought that Long Yi would directly throw her into the princess residence? Gu Jiao had never been to the princess residence, but this didn't prevent her from recognizing the words on the plaque. Gu Jiao expressionlessly looked at Long Yi, who threw her into the princess residence. To worry for your future date. Did he even know how to pick a place? There were servants on duty in Princess Mansion, but the movement of Long Yi was too light, so no one noticed that someone had entered Princess Mansion. Gu Jiao sat on the chair, and looking at Long Yi, who had jumped onto the beam, she asked word by word, "Can we change the place?" Long Yi didn't respond. Gu Jiao, "Hero, are you saying that the destination and the time of the trip are not allowed to be changed? Let's discuss it again." Gu Jiao thought for a moment and said, "Why don't you come down and we go to the yard to write? Or can you tell me how long we have to stay here? The princess won't be angry for long, right?" From beginning to end, Long Yi ignored Gu Jiao. Gu Jiao tried to open the door, open the window, and slip out, but she was pulled back by Long Yi. In the end, Gu Jiao gave up resisting. She slid down on the chair and sprawled out like a soulless salted fish. However, it was from this angle that she swept her gaze across and saw a pile of scroll paintings. She sat up, walked to the front of the multi-treasure pavilion, and pulled out a scroll painting from a large bottle. She untied the ribbon and opened it to take a look. It was actually a portrait of Xiao Lulang, or Xiao Hang. It was a 13-year-old Xiao Hang, dressed in white, pure like jade. She opened another portrait. It was also a 13-year-old Xiao Hang, dressed in the clothes of the young chancellor. His style was peerless, and his nobility was unparalleled. Whether it was the young duke or the young chancellor, his eyes were filled with starlight. His smile was clean and warm, like the purest piece of jade in the world. Gu Jiao caressed the smiling youth in the portrait, her fingertips tracing his face. It was hard to believe that such a smile had disappeared from his face forever. The light in his eyes was also gone. Gu Jiao rubbed her chest. There wasn't only one portrait, and there wasn't only Xiao Heng's portrait. Gu Jiao also saw Princess Xinyang. Princess Xinyang was truly beautiful when she was young, and she was also beautiful now. But in the past, she was a delicate flower under the sun, exuding exuberant vitality and vitality. Now, she had become a silk flower. Beautiful was beautiful, but she was no longer lively. Gu Jiao also saw a portrait of mother and son in the same frame. It was Princess Xinyang, who was in her 20s, and Xiao Hang, who was 5 years old. Princess Xinyang was hugging him, so gentle that time seemed to have calmed down. Princess Xinyang and Xiao Hang didn't have that kind of bad relationship with her parents in her previous life. They used to be the most intimate people in the world, the people who needed and relied on each other the most. Slacking off again, aren't you? This old woman didn't keep an eye on you for a while, and each and every one of you started to slack off. Later on, if the princess finds out, be careful of your skin. Suddenly, the voice of a fierce mama came from outside the room. She walked towards the direction of the sleeping chamber. She came to the door and put her hands on the door. Just when she was about to push open the door, Long Yi suddenly jumped down from the beam, grabbed Gu Jiao and jumped out of the window with her. Caught by Long Yi, Gu little chick, Jiao Jiao's face was ashen. Next time, can you let me know in advance? Because of this mama's interruption, the one-day tour of the princess mansion ended ahead of time. This was also very good. Otherwise Gu Jiao really didn't know how long Long Yi would hold her head and hide her. But, just now, everything had happened too fast, so Gu Jiao didn't have time to put back the portrait in her hand. At this moment, she was still holding the portrait of mother and son in her bosom. In the courtyard of Vermilion Bird Street, Xiao Lulang slowly woke up. He stared at the somewhat unfamiliar ceiling, and for a moment he didn't know where he was. He again looked at the furnishings inside the room, and only after a long time did he react to where he was. He blinked his eyes in disbelief. His mind began to recall the matters of yesterday. He seemed to have been taken away by Long Yi, but he didn't know where he was taken to because he had fainted. Although he had woken up in the middle of the night, he wasn't too clear-headed. Seeing Gu Jiao beside him, he again fell asleep. In the middle of the night, that hand on his forehead. "This young master, are you awake?" A little maid pushed open the door and entered. This was a servant brought back by Princess Xinyang from Fengdu Mountain. Xiao Lulang had never seen her, and she had also never seen Xiao Lulang. She didn't know the identity of Xiao Lulang, only knew that he was a person brought back by Long Yi. Why would Princess Xinyang tolerate an outsider sleeping on her bed? She didn't know, and also didn't dare to ask. Seeing the unfamiliar maid, Xiao Liulong's mind suddenly flashed with an absurd guess, and he asked, "Where is this? Where is your master?" The little maid said, "This is Vermilion Bird Street. Is young master asking where the princess went?" Xiao Lulang probed, "Princess Xinyang?" The little maid nodded her head. "Yes." It seems it wasn't like he had guessed. This house didn't have a new master. Xiao Lulang asked again, "How long have I slept?" The little maid said, "Half a day and 1 night. You came yesterday evening, and now is the noon of the 2nd day. Young master, are you hungry? The kitchen has stewed porridge." For the time being, Xiao Lulang didn't have any appetite, so he paused and asked, "Where is the princess?" The little maid pointed outside, the princess returned to the princess mansion. Xiao Lulang bitterly smiled. As expected, she still didn't want to see him. The latest chapter of this book is not finished. For more wonderful content, please scan the QR code below to download the app. Novels are updated even faster. Millions of novels are free to read. Novels with connotations that can't be found on the internet are all available here. https://www.zhbqg.com/89642_826/110111244. HTML Genius will remember this site's address: www.zhbqg.com. Bikuj mobile reading website, zhbqg.com. Chapter 432. The newest chapter of this book isn't finished yet. For more exciting content, please scan the QR code below to download the app. The novel will be updated even faster. Millions of novels will be read for free. Novels with connotations that can't be found online can be found here. On the other hand, the Crown Prince Consort planned to immediately return to the Eastern Palace after leaving Vermilion Bird Avenue. Halfway there, the carriage's wheel got stuck. Although it was autumn, the sun was strong during the day, so the carriage was extremely hot and stuffy. Crown Prince Consort, there's a tea house over there. Let's go sit there, Chunying said. All right. The Crown Prince Consort touched her cheek. Princess Xinyong's wound medicine was indeed miraculous. The swelling on her cheek had actually subsided. Even so, she still wore a veil. Chunying went to the counter to reserve an elegant room on the second floor. When the Crown Prince Consort walked down the corridor on the second floor with Chunying, a hand suddenly reached over and pulled the Crown Prince Consort into a certain room. The Crown Prince Consort paled and gasped, almost crying out in alarm. It's me. That person hugged her waist and rubbed the veil on her cheek with his fingertips. The Crown Prince Consort glanced at him coldly before pushing him away and pulling out of his embrace. Ning Wang wasn't angry at being rejected. He smiled and walked to the chair to sit down. He pointed at the chair beside him and said, "Aren't you going to sit?" The Crown Prince Consort turned to look at Chunying, but the door was already closed. It went without saying who closed it. The Crown Prince Consort looked at him with an icy gaze. You bribed Chunying? The first time, he still needed to knock Chunying out behind the fake mountain. After that, he provided false testimony for Wan Yang's incident. She thought he was threatening Chunying. Ning Wang spread his hands. This prince didn't bribe her. She was willing to work for this prince. If you don't believe me, you can call her in and ask her face to face. The Crown Prince Consort chuckled. Where would she have the guts to speak the truth? This man was too terrifying. Even she felt fear, let alone Chunying, who was a maidservant. Ning Wang looked at her playfully. You're not coming over. Are you waiting for this prince to carry you over? A faint trace of mockery flashed through the Crown Prince Consort's eyes. What? Princess Consort Ning can't satisfy you? Ning Wang's expression changed instantly. Endless coldness flashed across his face. Don't drag her into this between us. The Crown Prince Consort's scalp went numb. She glared at him coldly and stubbornly before turning her face away. Prince Ning loosened his grip and returned to his chair. He glanced at his side and said, Come and sit. The Crown Princess walked over expressionlessly and sat down. Prince Ning glanced at her wrist under her wide sleeve and asked, Are you injured? The Crown Princess didn't say anything. Ning Wang took her wrist and carefully and lovingly held it in his palm. Seeing that she had applied medicine, he asked, How did you get it? The Crown Prince Consort's anger was ignited and exploded in an instant. She turned her body and looked at him with torch-like eyes. How did this happen? Do you really want to know how? Fine, I will tell you. It was done by the daughter of Marquis Dingen Manor. That's right, it was the doctor who grew up in the countryside, who embarrassed me time and time again, and was doted on by the Empress Dowager. She suspected that I had something to do with Xiao Heng's disappearance. So he injured me. Not only was my wrist injured, my whole body was injured. If you have the ability to ask, do you have the ability to take revenge for me? Prince Ning was silent for a while and then suddenly smiled. What are you arguing with a child for? The Crown Prince consort frowned. Child. Prince Ning smiled. She is still young. It's inevitable that she doesn't understand things. I will help you clear your name and let her no longer suspect you. The Crown Prince consort flew into a rage out of humiliation. It wasn't me to begin with. It was you. Prince Ning laughed and gently kneaded her wrist. Good. It was me. I implicated you. The Crown Prince consort angrily pulled her hand back. If you want to make me happy, then go kill her. Prince Ning pulled her hand again. Are you speaking out of anger again? Princess Ning's illness needs her. The Empress Dowager also needs her. The Crown Prince consort bit her lip. That's right. You all need her. You all don't need me. Then why did you come looking for me? You go back and be your Prince Ning. I will be my Crown Prince consort. From now on, the well water will not interfere with the river water. We will not interact with each other. Are you really that angry? Prince Ning held her wrist with one hand and gently stroked her neck with the other. Other than not touching her, Ben Wang will do anything you want. The Crown Prince consort frowned. It was unknown whether she was disgusted by his touch or his words. Wasn't your storehouse emptied? Have you never considered that she did it? The fact that the storehouse of Prince Ning's mansion had been emptied was not publicized, but there were still a few people who knew. Prince Ning said, "It was her. I was the one who offended her first and burned down her workshop. We're even now." The Crown Prince consort chuckled. A mere workshop actually needs to be compensated with the entire treasury of Prince Ning's mansion. Prince Ning is really generous. Prince Ning looked at her in amusement. So jealous. It's just a small treasury. It's nothing. That's right. It was just a small marquise mansion's daughter. It was nothing. Why did she care so much about it? She was not someone who had not seen the wind and waves. She understood better than anyone that it was easy for a person to be in the limelight for a while. She was the Crown Prince consort and the future Empress of Zhao country. She was the mother of the country and had a noble status. There was no need for her to care about a little girl. But why was it that she, who had always been rational, could no longer maintain her calm? The Crown Prince consort took a deep breath and said, "Now that you touched her husband, she will come to find you if you are even." Prince Ning said without worry, "She can't touch me." The Crown Prince consort looked at Prince Ning in confusion. "So you've been tolerating her all this time?" Prince Ning took off her veil and gently stroked her cheek with his fingertips. "Lin Lang, don't be unreasonable." The Crown Prince consort tilted her head and avoided his hand. She said angrily, "I'm not being unreasonable." Prince Ning's smile faded. He grabbed her chin and forced her to turn her head. The gentleness in his eyes disappeared and was replaced by coldness and viciousness. "Fine. You want to kill her. Is it because she offended you or because she married Xiao Heng?" The Crown Prince consort's body froze. When the Crown Prince consort returned to the Eastern Palace, the Crown Prince anxiously greeted her. "Lin Lang, where did you go?" What happened to your face?" The Crown Prince consort's face had recovered long ago, but the Crown Prince still saw something strange. This man was probably the only one in the world who cared about her so much. Without waiting for the Crown Prince consort to reply, the Crown Prince rolled up her sleeve again and exclaimed, "Your hand!" The Crown Prince consort said without a change in expression, "I accidentally fell." "Where did you fall?" the Crown Prince asked with heartache and worry. The Crown Prince consort smiled. "In Princess Xinyong's courtyard." "You went to visit Aunt?" the Crown Prince muttered. "Why did you go to Aunt's place? Didn't I tell you to recuperate in the Eastern Palace? Does it hurt?" Princess Xinyong was the Emperor's younger sister. Before she married, the crown prince called her aunt. Later, she married Marquis Xian Ping, who was also the crown prince's uncle. Thus, the crown prince changed to calling her aunt. The crown prince consort said gently, "Uncle didn't return to the capital, and aunt is alone. I'm worried about her. I've already applied medicine. It doesn't hurt." The crown prince cupped her hand and blew on it with heartache. He said, "You are too considerate of others. Why are you considerate of me like Shi Yi? I went out to search for Xiao Lulang for an entire night. I'm dead tired, and I don't feel good when I come back and don't see you." The crown prince consort had an ashamed expression. "It's my fault. I'll be more careful next time." In reality, the crown prince consort of the Eastern Palace was not as free as the Wang Fei outside the palace. It was because the crown prince and his majesty trusted her and gave her the right to leave the palace freely. "Is there still no news of Xiao Lulang?" she pretended to ask carelessly. The crown prince was worried about her injury and did not detect the strangeness on her face. He answered, "No. The imperial guards speculate that Xiao Lulang was brought back to the capital." That day, only the Minister of Works, Sir Zhao, and aunt entered the city without inspection. But they both said they didn't see Xiao Lulang. "Aunt." The crown prince consort suddenly thought of the man's clothes that Yujin had hung out to dry and the tightly shut door of Princess Xinyong's bedroom. Could it be that Xiao Lulang had been saved by Princess Xinyong? If that was the case, then it was not hard to explain why the King of Ning and the crown prince could not find any trace of Xiao Lulang even after turning the capital upside down. But why did Princess Xinyong hide it? Was she worried that the other party would come up with another plan after the first one failed? Gu Jiao must know. She had not come to treat Princess Xinyong's illness, but because Xiao Lulang was there. Thinking about it now, Yujin's words were truly laughable. One moment she said Dr. Gu, another she said she was closer to the princess, but in the end, she even hid Xiao Liulong's whereabouts from her. The crown prince consort gripped the handkerchief in her hand. The crown prince clearly felt the change in the crown prince consort's aura. He looked at her worriedly. "Lin Lang, what's wrong?" His face suddenly became very ugly. The crown prince consort closed her eyes. "Nothing, I'm tired." The crown prince hastily said, "Then I'll help you back to your room to rest." On the other side, Gu Jiao, who had been sitting on the wall for no less than 2 hours and had almost been roasted into a salted fish, was finally picked up by Long Yi. Gu Jiao opened her mouth and spat out a mouthful of black smoke. She expressionlessly said, "Later, if the princess gets angry again, please let me face her anger directly." Gu Jiao seriously suspected that Long Yi was so skilled because he had taken Xiao Hang to do this when they were little. But she was even more suspicious that Xiao Hang needed to stay outside for so long not because Princess Xinyong would be angry for so long, but purely because little Xiao Hang was mischievous and wanted to behave atrociously outside. "You were deceived, do you know?" Gu Jiao looked at him with hidden bitterness. "Your little master is a little rascal." Long Yi didn't respond. "I'm so hungry." Being roasted by the sun for so long, she was also hungry. Nearby, there happened to be a small stall selling scallion pancakes. Gu Jiao bought 2 scallion pancakes. This kind of pancake had to be eaten while it was hot, so she didn't give any to Xiao Lulang and Princess Xinyong. Altogether 10 copper coins. The vendor said. Gu Jiao took out a copper coin from her purse and handed it to him. Then she took the scallion pancake and gave one to Long Yi. Long Yi took it, but didn't eat it. Gu Jiao took a bite of the crispy scallion pancake and strangely looked at him. "Why aren't you eating?" That's right, she had never seen Long Yi eat anything. This big guy always wore a mask, seemingly never taking it off. Gu Jiao thought for a bit and said to Long Yi, "Let's go to the roof to eat, no one will see." Long Yi took Gu Jiao to the roof. This angle was extremely good, they could see the people on the street, but the people on the street couldn't see them. "Mask," Gu Jiao said to him. Long Yi didn't respond. Gu Jiao paused, then raised her hand to take off his mask. The moment she was about to touch it, she could feel that Long Yi's body slightly leaned back, this was a subconscious action to avoid. But he didn't lean back too much. Gu Jiao hesitated and asked, "I'll take it off?" This time, when she touched Long Yi's mask again, Long Yi didn't dodge. Gu Jiao took off Long Yi's mask. Gu Jiao had seen the Emperor's shadow dragon guards, so she thought that Long Yi was like them, belonging to the category of scary people. But when she saw Long Yi's appearance, her eyes were wide open. What happened to the unremarkable appearance? Wasn't this a bit too handsome? He had a pair of long and narrow phoenix eyes, thick eyebrows, and resolute facial features. His whole face was extremely grave and stern. But there was no tattoo on his face. Gu Jiao hummed and said, "Long Yi, where's your tattoo? Don't you shadow dragon guards all have tattoos?" Of course, Long Yi didn't respond. Then, eat the pancake. Gu Jiao handed over the scallion pancake to him. Long Yi paused for 3 seconds, then took the scallion pancake and ate it expressionlessly. After a quarter of an hour, "Gu little chick, Jiao. Don't pinch me. Don't pinch me. I'll throw up." The two returned to Vermilion Bird Avenue and found out that Princess Xinyang had returned to the Princess Mansion. No wonder that Mama was in a hurry to clean up the house. Princess Xinyang had returned, and they just happened to miss her. Gu Jiao went to Xiao Liulong's bedroom. Xiao Lulang had already gotten out of bed. He was wearing the clothes that Long Yi had given him from the Princess Mansion. The clothes of a 14-year-old clearly didn't fit him. It looked somewhat comical. "Are the clothes dry? If they're dry, help me put them in." After he finished speaking to the maid, he turned around and saw Gu Jiao and Long Yi at the door. "No need to tidy them up, I brought clothes." Gu Jiao took out a bundle from her small basket, took out a set of clothes, and handed it to him. "Is it convenient for your hand? Do you want me to help you?" Xiao Lulang said, "No need, I can change it myself." Gu Jiao, "Oh, I really want to change it for you." Gu Jiao went to the courtyard to wait for him. Long Yi didn't go out, he looked straight at Xiao Liulong's right leg. The first time he saw Xiao Lulang in the forest, Xiao Lulang suddenly rushed over. Long Yi didn't pay attention to his movements. At this moment, Long Yi seemed to have finally discovered that his leg was lame. Long Yi knelt on one knee and went to check his leg. "Long Yi." Xiao Lulang dodged backwards. Long Yi raised his head and looked at him. His eyes seemed to be somewhat confused and also somewhat confused. Suddenly, Long Yi stood up and rushed out. Not long after, he rushed in again. Gu Jiao was at the door. Because of the 2 gusts of wind blowing by Long Yi, she couldn't open her eyes. Long Yi held a lot of medicine for wounds. He pressed Xiao Lulang to sit on a chair, bent his strong and tall body, and knelt on one knee again, opened those bottles and jars, and applied medicine for Xiao Lulang. After applying some medicine, he made Xiao Lulang move. When he was young, Xiao Lulang was a big liar. After falling down, he would pretend that he was seriously injured, deceiving Long Yi to apply medicine for him and take him out to play. He also didn't expect that one day he wouldn't need to deceive Long Yi. He really couldn't get better. The latest chapter of this book is not finished. For more wonderful content, please scan the QR code below to download the app. Novels are updated faster. Millions of novels are free to read. Novels with connotations that can't be found on the internet are all available here. https://www.zhbqg.com/89642-826/110108814. HTML Genius will remember this site's address. www.zhbqg.com Bikuj mobile reading website. zhbqg.com. Chapter 433. The latest chapter of this book is not finished yet. For more wonderful content, please scan the QR code below to download the app. Novels are updated even faster. Millions of novels are free to read. Novels with content that can't be found on the internet are all here. Long Yi tested the medicine for Xiao Lulang like before. If one medicine didn't work, he would change to another one. In the end, Long Yi's movements became anxious and disorderly. He seemed to feel that Xiao Liulong's legs wouldn't get better. Dragon Shadow God won't cry. Also won't feel uncomfortable. In that instant, Gu Jiao, who was standing outside the door, felt a huge grief coming from Long Yi. Xiao Lulang finished changing his clothes and came out. Then, he said to Gu Jiao, who was quietly waiting in the corridor, "I'm fine, let's go." "Go." Gu Jiao looked at Xiao Lulang in astonishment. Only after a moment did she realize that he meant to leave here. Gu Jiao didn't say that it was best to stay here. She put down the branch in her hand, stood up and looked at him. "Okay." On the way back in the carriage, Xiao Lulang didn't say a word. Long Yi didn't show up, but Xiao Lulang and Gu Jiao both knew that he was following far behind the carriage. Is it because of the princess? Gu Jiao finally opened her mouth. Xiao Lulang tried to speak as normally as possible. "She doesn't want to see me." Also, if she wanted to see her, she wouldn't have returned to the princess mansion. Gu Jiao was unable to refute. The carriage continued to wobble along for a while. Xiao Liulong's complexion was very pale. Gu Jiao couldn't tell for a moment whether it was because of the injury on his hand or because of the injury in his heart. Gu Jiao recalled those portraits she saw in the princess mansion. After hesitating for a moment, she asked, "Why?" Gu Jiao wanted to ask, "Why did you become like this?" Xiao Lulang thought that Gu Jiao was asking why she didn't want to see him. This was a scar in his heart that repeatedly tore, a memory he didn't want to touch the most. But since she asked, he would tell her. "Because I'm not her biological child. Her own son is dead. Because of me." When they returned to Jadewater Alley, the two of them had already sorted out their emotions, and there was no longer any abnormality on their faces. After they arrived safely, Long Yi used his Qing Gong to quietly leave. After all, he was the secret guard of Princess Xinyang, and his duty was to protect her. There were only 2 classes in the Imperial College in the afternoon. Little Jing Kong had finished school early and was peeking his head out of the door. Although his small feet were obediently staying within the threshold, his small body was itching to leap out. His small arms were flying behind his back, like an anxious emperor penguin. Gu Jiao was amused by him. "Jiao Jiao?" Little Jing Kong noticed Gu Jiao. He tilted his head to look at her to make sure that his eyes weren't playing tricks on him. Then, he turned around and called out to Madame Yao and senior servant Fong, who were in the rear courtyard, "Jiao Jiao is back. I can go out now." After he said that, he stepped over the threshold with his short legs and ran towards Gu Jiao. As expected, he slipped and fell again. He hadn't fallen for a long time, but he was still very skilled at holding his head. He held his little head and rolled all the way to Gu Jiao's feet. After he finished rolling, he probably felt that his tough little image had been ruined again. He rolled his eyes, spread his arms, and called out in an especially domineering manner, "Jiao Jiao." He wasn't embarrassed, but the other person was. The other person was a bad brother-in-law. There was no one else who could be as shameless as him. Unfortunately, they were all Xiao Liulong's leftovers. Without waiting for Gu Jiao to bend down to pick him up, Xiao Lulang directly grabbed the little fellow's small lapel and lifted him up. "Ayaya! I want to carry you, Jiao Jiao. Not you." Xiao Lulang carried the little fellow into the courtyard. He had lost his cane, but he was stronger than before, so the little fellow didn't fall down. However, the moment he entered the central room, his right leg couldn't support him anymore. Gu Jiao carried little Jing Kong over in time and supported him with her other hand to prevent him from falling and embarrassing. Xiao Lulang sensed the weakness in his right leg and clenched his fist without a trace. Gu Jiao didn't tell her family that Xiao Lulang was kidnapped by an assassin. She only said that he was on a business trip. The original plan was for him to recuperate at Princess Xinyang's place until he recovered, so there was no need to tell the family. However, since he came back early, the matter of his injury naturally couldn't be hidden. Lulang is back. This time, on a business trip. Sure enough, Madame Yao was only halfway through her sentence when she noticed his stiff right hand. "Lulang, your hand," Xiao Lulang said as if nothing had happened. "When I was on a business trip, I accidentally fell and hit the gap in the stairs. I bled a little, but it's fine now." He even had more than 10 stitches. Gu Jiao added in her heart. It was a pity that her husband's hand was so beautiful. If it left a scar, she would chop off the murderer's hand. Xiao Liulong's wrist was wrapped in gauze. Madame Yao couldn't really remove the gauze to check his injury, so she believed that it was just a normal scratch. However, she still felt sorry for him, so she asked senior servant Fong to stew a pot of pig's hand soup to help him heal his hand. Xiao Lulang still needed an infusion today, so Gu Jiao hung the infusion bottle on the bookshelf behind the desk in the West Room. Xiao Lulang read while he was receiving the infusion. Not long after, little Jing Kong came over with a portrait in his hands. He was still very short, so he had to stand on his tiptoes to poke half of his head out from behind the desk. He walked around the desk and came to Xiao Liulong's side. He tilted his head and asked Xiao Lulang, "Do you have a younger brother?" Xiao Lulang didn't raise his head and continued to flip through the Yen Kingdom's arithmetic book. "Why do you ask?" Little Jing Kong looked at Xiao Hang in the portrait. "This person looks like you." Xiao Liulong's expression froze. He turned his head and saw that little Jing Kong was holding a portrait in his hand. He immediately recognized the person in the portrait. It was a 5-year-old him and a young Princess Xinyang. He slightly clenched his fingers. Where did this portrait come from? From Jiao Jiao's basket. Little Jing Kong tilted his head and said, "Your younger brother is more handsome than you. Your younger brother can smile, but you can't." Xiao Hang in the portrait smiled innocently as if he had all the happiness in the world. The joy in his eyes almost overflowed. This was the Xiao Hang of the past. Xiao Lulang looked at himself and Princess Xinyang in the portrait, and his heart was in a trance. The motherly love and filial piety seemed to have been a long time ago. When he suddenly looked back, it felt as if a lifetime had passed. In the afternoon, Princess Xinyang's heart disease flared up and she fainted in the princess's mansion. Yujin was worried that it would delay the treatment, so she simply sent Princess Xinyang to the medical center. Gu Jiao was carried away by Long Yi again. That feeling was too satisfying. Princess Xinyang took the anti-heart failure medicine from the research institute and her condition was well under control. The reason why she fainted was not because of her heart disease, but because she had not slept all night. She was overworked and her blood sugar was low. Gu Jiao gave Princess Xinyang some glucose. When Princess Xinyang woke up, it was already evening. She opened her eyes and found herself lying in an unfamiliar room. There was a round little head beside the bed. She opened her mouth and asked in a hoarse voice, "Where is this?" Little Jing Kong, who was squatting on the ground playing with marbles, looked up and blinked his big eyes at her. "Benefactress, you woke up? You are in the medical center. This is Jiao Jiao's room. You are sleeping on Jiao Jiao's bed. How do you feel? Do you feel uncomfortable anywhere?" Jiao Jiao said that if you don't feel well, I will go and tell her. She is in the front. Digression. Last night, I received a formal notice that the explosive update was cancelled. I thought I would have to save up until February. Well, now I don't have to. It just so happens that my family has been too busy recently. I'll save up my Weibo for the new year. The latest chapter of this book is not finished yet. For more wonderful content, please scan the QR code below to download the app. Novels are updated even faster. Millions of novels are free to read. Novels with connotations that you can't find on the internet are all available here. https://www.zhbqg.com/89642_8964286/1100837764. HTML Genius will remember this site's address in 1 second. www.zhbqg.com Bikuj mobile reading website. zhbqg.com. You're tuning in to the Narrate and Escape YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.